And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another stream talking about episodes 9 and 10, the finale of Maul, Shadow Lord, with myself, Dash, and of course, the effervescent, I don't even know what that word means, Sweepy.
How you doing, everybody?
Dude, the text I got from you, the hype. Do we start like that? The hype?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tell me. Just let's cook. Let's go straight
All
in.
right, all right. So I actually want to ask you a question. I want to set the theme of your opinion straight away. Is he cooking? Is Dave cooking? Is he sauteing nicely? Is he cooking? Is he cooking?
I'll say this, and this is a very controversial, honest take out the gate. A huge part of me is torn because I don't think that Maul in lore should have survived what he did. It doesn't make a lot of sense how he survived through the Force and what he's gone through, which we'll talk about later. However, what Filoni has done, he's cooked. It has that Star Wars feeling where, despite me not thinking in continuity this works, as a show and as a Star Wars product for Disney, it is the strongest thing by far out the gate, where I'm just like, every scene I was holding on. I was like, no, I was attached to these characters.
Mm-hmm. It was actually amazing. Like, I loved even I don't know how we want to do if we're going to do scene by scene, but from the moment go, it was almost as like your blood pressure was high. It was like everything was high stakes. And I actually loved that. I like to see this for once. And I think before, they sort of got a, in my opinion, I really dislike the fact that sometimes when a Jedi went up against a Darksider, there was such a power level difference. When obviously when you looked at them with Vader, obviously he was just too much, relentless. But I like to see the Jedi finally hold their own against Inquisitors for a while. That was actually good. It was more just like reminiscent of what you saw in the Old Republic. Like, the Jedi weren't that looked at as weak. They were going at it head to head. It was actually a great battle scene to see them both go at it. Or did you see that they were still more overwhelmed by the Inquisitors?
I thought about Master Yoda's quote literally when they said, is the dark side stronger? Which it seems to be. And he said, no. And like, that's how I felt. Like even Master Darky saying, let's team up, and showing more momentarily the strength of pairing up and teamwork when Maul was, obviously spitting some dark side game to Devon the whole time, proving the Jedi's point. I love the contrast, if we're talking meta, that the Jedi and the Sith are the yin and yang. And the problem with the Jedi is inaction, as we've spoken of, where, obviously Master Darky's trying to pull back too much, let Riley get caught by the Sith. Maybe that will do, they'll be lenient, all that crap. Where you're like, no, you need action sometimes, which more pushed. But when he starts preaching the opposite of the Sith with the dark side with the teamwork, and you see how important that is to work together, community, etc. And you cannot, it's something that Maul hasn't learned fully yet, as we know, and we won't jump ahead to that. But absolutely, I love the light side cooking, where I was rooting for that. I was rooting for Darky the whole time. He's a real favorite.
He's a real Jedi Master.
He had dignity, yeah, and you don't judge him by his height. Whoever voiced him did a phenomenal job. Speaking of voicing, if we can jump through and we'll do chronologically if you want, because I got the notes.
Yep.
Dryden Voss, I legit thought Paul Bettany was going to drop out of the sky when I saw those claw marks on their face. Those claw marks are still ridiculous. It looks like a loth cat has scratched him. I'm like, I couldn't take him seriously, dude. No. What about you?
Dude, I just couldn't take his cocaine nail seriously. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yes.
Yeah, his little coke nail. I was just like, why is that there? Was that significant in the Solo movie? I can't remember.
I actually saw that and I thought, didn't he have a dagger or something? Like, what? I don't think that was his primary weapon of choice. Like, someone's pissing him off. He's niggling that nail at their face. I thought it was ridiculous. But and also him getting on the ship coming as well. Personally, I thought if you're a boss, why not send your underlings if the Empire's there? Why would you risk yourself? I know that he's playing a bigger game with the Crimson Dawn, wants to take over, needs Maul's help, as we know from Solo, and they're tying things together. And I will say this, I really wasn't a fan of Solo. It felt like watching like it was a mid movie, but also it didn't feel like Han Solo, which is like the worst thing you can do. But I wanted these things to tie together. I didn't really care. I was like, why is Maul showing up? I'm a lore junkie, but even I was like, where is this on the timeline? Why do I care? Is this they're shoehorning in a legacy character to sell a movie that they're not so sure of? What do you feel about Bettany and the Crimson Dawn as a criminal organization?
I think they have to tie it in, obviously, because there was a Solo movie, but there was a quote from Rebels with Maul when he was talking to Ezra, and he was talking about a time when his power was almost, in his opinion, absolute. And I've always thought, I'm like, was that because when he was apprentice with Palps, or when, in his opinion, now he's like, oh, I've got an apprentice, I've got, the underworld behind me. Are we going up to a crescendo where there is a big challenge towards the Emperor? But as we see in Rebels, everything has already fallen apart from him. He's lost everyone. Even in this episode, he lost basically almost everyone except his new, what we would call apprentice. So I was just like, did he actually have a good dig at Vader and stuff, like in season 2 coming, where it leads up to Malachor? Like, was he, that's going to be interesting for me. It's like, how much power did he get?
I'd like to see a lot more power. I feel we'll get to it, but I feel that Maul's power scaling, as the comments are saying, were just a little bit too low. He was the assassin attack dog of Palps, and he's a shredder. So I didn't think that any Inquisitors should be able to hold their own bar Vader. And again, the leg damage over and over and over. Every time, say, he like took a steps towards someone, there was a leg kick, and he's like, oh, fuck. That's my old inch stall. Like, they just kept hammering that leg. And I'm like, bro, even Vader was like, I'm taking a chunk out of that shit. It was crazy. The next thing is Darky Devon Lawson were a part of an uneasy alliance. And I liked that Maul referred to Darky as Master Darky, despite what happens later. Sam Witwer said that he was from a time of knights and warriors, and he knew where people stood, like it was like honor. And that honor system, for a second, even though he really kind of looks his nose down at Jedi, I did like that there was a strange, twisted version of honor. Like, at least I know what these guys are up to compared to Palpy.
Yeah, when he told his I can't remember the female Mandalorian,
Rook,
which is like, Rook, have some respect. He's a Jedi master. Yeah, then he's like, but we need him for now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we might cook him later, but you know what? He's a master.
But did he cook him
later? Yeah, he betrayed him to get Devon. You saw that?
Yeah, he did. But like when I saw it, like the force push wasn't. Are we jumping too ahead here, or should we back up a bit?
We're jumping way too ahead, but we can let's attack this moment. You love it.
Oh, so. Well,
that's all right. Let's read the comments.
Okay, let's read the comments. Off you, Josh.
No, it's you.
What's up with Maul pushing Darky just once, like trying to get him killed, then changing his mind and leaving? Just that one push is what happened, right? I watched it twice too. See, okay, so that's what I was actually going to comment on. Was the push wasn't a big force push for me. I was always thinking back and forth.
It was like a bully. It was like he's trying to get in the lunch line. He's like, move out of the way, and then he's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
But was it like sacrifice stuff for the greater good? Do the Jedi? Like, it was like a little tap. It wasn't like, I'm going to push you into his blade, because if I was Maul, I would expect him to shove him into Vader's blade. This was more like a little, and then they looked at each other and he bugged it
off guard, and he moved into Vader's attack sphere enough where Darky got the message he was on his own, and Maul watched, like, if you're good enough, you can take Vader, but I know that you're screwed. And Darky knew, everybody on that board knew exactly what was about to transpire after the push. Darky could have retreated, as they retreated so many times, but he took that out of, and he kind of just said, show me. And Darky, to his credit, it's got to be Ataru. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, so cool. I loved it. Yeah, it was a strange one. Like, I was always thinking about that. I was just like, because he was helping them, because then Maul said to himself, no. Like, did he say, like, no, I shouldn't leave? Then he went, fuck it. And just leave. Because what did that no mean? Like, I can't give in to the light? Was it a
Yeah, I don't know.
struggle with himself?
I think that he had a little more respect, but he was like, "This is we're setting the stage, and this is it." But Maul seems to be more conflicted, and that I think talks to his power scaling. As soon as the first brother said like Palpatine's name, he was shooketh, and I feel like he's off balance, kind of like when Anakin killed the younglings and was supposed to be deeper in the dark side than ever, but he was more off balance, and he probably should have murked Obi-Wan, but he couldn't because it was his brother. That kind of conflicted. I feel like Maul's trauma really hasn't helped him whatsoever, and you know, confronting Vader. I honestly wanted Vader to say something like, "You tried to run me over, bitch."
Did you like that he said no words?
I liked that he was a horror villain and that his strength was palpable, where you just were like, Vader is unstoppable. They're doing the Jedi Survivor rules. Vader is an unstoppable force. We're not going to pretend that you nearly beat Vader and his helmet comes off and he's that stupid shit that they always do to him. This is horror villain Vader. His strength is insurmountable. I didn't like that pushed Maul down. I see Maul as top tier saber duelist, and he picked Exar Kun style Sith staff because of the fact that it's so unorthodox. But I guess if Vader's training the Grand Inquisitor and all the Inquisitors, he kind of just knows what's up. He knows his strengths and weaknesses back to front.
So, if we're going to rewind just a little bit, is Marok dead? Is that what killed him? Are we going to see some weird resurrection from him? Nah.
Season two. The one thing that, if we're talking about like more cool moments, like full strength Maul, the AT-ST, that saber throw, which is iconic from Battlefront 2, that's peak Maul, where everybody's watching, myself, I'm like, he's not soloing at AT-ST, and he did, and it was believable, and his dashes and movement was so good. I feel like the saber movement in general, it's a little quick in the physics drop too quick compared to, say, like the smoothness of the old Republic. So I'm going to use animation parody here, is superior, but the fighting in general was so frenetic, fast, and satisfying. I'm watching and it doesn't look like stupid recycled moves or live action Ahsoka versus Vader where it was slow and sluggish. You know, that was terrible. The choreography was peak the whole time, but like they showcased many moves, like say the saber throw that cut all of the stormtroopers, or even versus Vader when they both did the force hold of the saber for a second. It wasn't overused. They didn't use the same move over and over where you get bored of it. I love that. I was like, dude, this choreography, I'll give them their flowers.
100%. But even like the meanings behind some of the fights, like, was obviously Maul was peacocking to tempt what's the Padawan's name? I keep forgetting these characters' names.
No, Devin.
No, Evan. So yeah, Devin.
Devin.
Like, you know what I mean? And then you see Darky look at Devin and be like, she's getting.
Oh
tempted
yeah.
But
it was like you see her,
like,
you know, in SWOTO, like alignment goes light or dark. You could see her alignment going light, dark. Like the lessons that and the failures of the light and the dark were on full display each time. I loved it.
Oh, it was awesome. And then at the end, when she goes, "I'm ready," holding his saber, I was just like, "Oh, we're gonna get a little Talon."
Oh,
but it's not going to be Talon though. He's not his. Yeah. But how did you feel about the captain, the fall of the captain? I was pretty sad. That caught me.
Dude, Lawson and Darky were my favorite characters. I loved Lawson, and as a father myself, I was like nearly choking up. My wife was half watching. She's not really watching, and I'm like, "Don't cry." Which is stupid, but like I am one of those people when music or moments, if it gets me, and it's very rare. But when he was like, "Go, son," and he picked up the E-Web blaster, which is pretty fucking heavy. I was like, "Bro is doing this," and I didn't have to see his death, though. You did see, him getting blasted up a bit. It was they didn't hold back. Even Darky with the saber going through his torso. they didn't show it going in, but they showed it in it, and I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, and I think that's what I like. It's like, well, obviously we've got a darker show. I think we're going to really have to get used to, even in season 2, is just seeing loss, because I didn't actually expect the captain to die. I actually thought that would have been carried on
Dude, I
into
knew
the
it was
next one.
coming.
Did ya? Because I mean,
Oh, so
because
sad.
he was a bounty hunter, right? So I thought, when I saw the Crimson Dawn, I'm like, maybe that he's going to creep back into sort of old ways to try and use them to get back. But then he goes, "I'm going to send you to your mother, who's an Imperial." And his son's a fugitive. That made no sense to him. Like, why are you sending him to his mum if his mum's an Imperial?
I
Like,
don't
the
know,
Empire
dude.
doesn't care about that. Like, I thought that was a bit strange.
I'd send him to an orphanage of the two boots kind. Hey,
It's a robot
Riley,
colony.
can you tell it's me? I have no boots on.
You hate that stuff, eh?
I hate that stuff. Look, see,
We
Brittany
happy
and
Maul's
knows.
droid died.
Bro, it's the one thing that pulls me out of these episodes is the levity or attempted it. Like, I'm just like, go bang. Oh my God. Like the acid lake scene where they're jumping. I'm on the edge of my seat and this spy bot going, what? And I'm like, oh, Chopper. Ever since he fucking made Chopper, Filoni's just like, you know what the kids will love? And I'm like, the kids' time is over, Filoni. Stop leaving one foot over the fence. Pull it over, make an adult show, commit, or don't fucking like go back to Clone Wars season 1. Like, don't. Oh no, Rebels is really more of a kids show. Would you say?
Rebels is obviously because it was on Disney. Is it DX? Disney XD? Disney XD.
XD.
Yeah, it had a younger audience. That's why you never really saw like people flat out. I remember I took notice. No one was actually dead. Was there, even when they shot the stormtroopers? Do you remember they were sort of moving a bit? They didn't want to really like represent that much death a little bit. So
Well, that's what a lot of
yeah,
people had problems with this show was if you notice when Captain Lawson does the breach in the first 2 episodes, he takes 2 boots or whatever droid type that is with him that get killed by Maul. And my eyes started rolling in my head like, don't you dare only use, like, there's a reason why clone troopers and droids are on a kid's show where they die, because it's technically probably in the rating system doesn't hit versus like a saber cutting someone's nuts off. Like there's a huge difference to perception. Yeah, so I was amazed. Obviously Rebels is a different beast, but I liked that they were, the further we got, the more people were dying. I was like, yes, finally.
oh yeah, there's a great dark crescendo definitely in it. But I mean, back to what you said with Rebels, was it a kid show? I thought the story was good. I didn't think I think the story itself, apart from the visuals, was getting a little bit weird up. Because I've always said I really love Rebels as a story. Obviously, I think people wanted it as fans a little bit more Clone Wars esque. But I liked it on the whole. But this one here, yeah, like I think definitely in season 2, it's going to get a lot more grittier. You can already feel it. The stakes are very, very high.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that the only way to go is up. Though there will be a couple of episodes obligatory where Maul is teaching the Sith ways to Devon. Obviously, there's going to be some slower setup episodes. Just to everyone watching, we will be answering everybody's questions. We're going to go through the breakdown. We're near the start of episode 10, and then we'll just cycle back and start going through all of your comments so that you don't get missed. Appreciate you, Will. Just so you know, it's not like we're not seeing your comments. It's just we're going to go a little chronological for the people on the rewatch. Not that we've done that. And yeah, ATAC, I get those names wrong. I actually pathologically do it. I apologize. It matters to some people, obviously not to me, but my God, when I screw that up. Oh, look at this shot. Did you love how episode 9 ended like that? I was like, yes. What an ending.
It's weird, right? Because Disney sort of flip-flops a little bit where they've made Vader look so terrifying and then sometimes not. Like you said, for example, you've had problems where Ahsoka sort of nicked his helmet off in Rebels, and you thought,
everybody's done it.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on Ahsoka. Ahsoka power scaling, beating Vader. I was screaming about that in like 2016 in videos. Sari Junda, I think her name was, or Sia, sorry, from Survivor. Obviously, Star Killer. Everybody, when they want to show that they're powerful, they beat the Christ out of Vader and his helmet comes off and his asthma comes on. And I hate that because, because it's just a cheap tool in some aspects to show the other characters powerful by contrast. But think about this with Maul. Ahsoka beat Maul unarmed. Like, Maul, to me, is the shredder. EU Maul is so fire at killing. That's what he does the best, and he savors it. And he loves people that bring the noise. He couldn't wait to take Qui-Gon. He was like, finally, a master worth my time. So to have somebody like Ahsoka use him as a cheap foil, I felt like was a downfall for Filoni, because I thought that's a cheap move. And the problem I had here was that Maul consistently was getting leg kicked, as Brittany has said. Ridiculous. I think he's been leg kicked at least 6 times and leg slashed twice. But I did like that he was chipped down by Vader. Like Vader was toying with him, like da, 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 like just cheesing him up. But to my point, Maul, then to show that the Inquisitors are powerful, which I did enjoy compared to Ahsoka. Again, I really loved First Brother and 11th. I actually started to care about them versus Tales of the Jedi and Ahsoka. But Maul suffered because he had to be weaker to show that other people were stronger, and I didn't enjoy that. I see Maul in my head, what I've seen of him in the past. No, not a lot of people can match him toe to toe. The Force, they can rip him up, not with a saber. That's his whole thing.
From a storytelling perspective, though, if Maul was constantly on that level, would it then take the stakes out and be boring? Like, do you need to see him suffer?
Yes.
Which I think,
yeah, they've made a mistake in Ahsoka and they're walking it back, but they also need Maul to suffer psychologically, physically, because it wouldn't be fun if Maul was shredding everybody unless that was the story that you were telling. But Maul suffering and needing the very thing he hates, which is teamwork and Devon's help, brings her over to his side. So I know what they're doing from a storytelling standpoint. You know, you can what he would say, intellectualize it all you want. But for me, as the character that I know, I'm like, dude, he should just be absolutely smashing. I would love to see him really like full power Maul, what it would look like against Inquisitors, especially the disrespect, because he knows the staff so well.
I have an interesting parallel that I want to draw to. Like, do you think, remember when he was sort of losing his mind a bit and he saw his younger self getting tortured by Palpatine, and then he had he shed the tear and he goes, I'm not going to let anyone do that again to anyone else. Do you think he's going to go back on his word and we're going to see him torture Devon?
I hope so. I hope that the lesson there is the dark, not because he's hurting a girl. I really like Devon and I like her rage. I like seeing the contrast between, say, Ahsoka going into the light more and then someone else going into the dark. But Maul his arc is not learning lessons of revenge, and that is his failing. But I do want to see Devon learn from the experience, or even not. I definitely want to see him screw up being a mentor, because he keeps on posturing that he's the greater mentor compared to Darky, but Darky was phenomenal.
Oh, he was. Carlos, with your comment there, where you said Ahsoka is a prodigy who was trained by Anakin Kenobi. When you mean by prodigy, do you just mean because she's a prodigy because of who she was trained by? Because when I sort of try and make sense of her power level, I always think it's because she has Mora running through her, the literal embodiment of the light side. Remember the Mortis arc when he got resurrected by her. So when I think of perhaps why is she a little bit more upscaled, is it because that she actually has the daughter running through her? Is that what you're trying to say by prodigy? Dash is twitching.
Dave Filoni. I've said it. He loves his toys. His originals get scaled above any legacy characters. I said it. Filoni loves the Filoni-verse more than anybody. Nobody loves it more than Filoni. That's my takeaway.
But could we say that with Kanan? Because Kanan was shown to not be the most powerful, except in the end, he showed what the Force can do. Like, I love that when he blocked the fire, he sacrificed himself, the Force healed his eyes. He got one last look at Hera and the crew. before he sacrificed himself. Do you think he was done really well with Kanan there? I thought he'd scaled him perfectly consistently. Or do you disagree with
It's hard
Kanan?
for me. No, I agree with that. But he was a tool to boost up the rest of the rebels, the younger generation. He wasn't ever meant to be more than a tool. And it disappointed me because for me, Kanan was like, see, this is why I'm broken. Kanan, Kyle Katarn, a little bit, they took elements. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
he's so powerful. You know, I mean, he's a tanking galaxy of heroes, for God's sake. He should be, no, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Filoni
Yeah.
will use people for a plot device, I think, a lot. And Ezra was Starkiller-esque in his betrayal in Rebels in power level comparative to whatever we got in Ahsoka. So,
do you like Ezra?
I don't mind him. He's a kid. I don't mind Ahsoka. I went back and watched the start of Clone Wars, and I hated her in 2008. I watched the thing, and I saw that she was a snotty kid, but that's how a kid would act when they haven't had to deal. They don't understand war or the situation. I really liked her the second time. Like, I like these guys, but it's for a kid's show to uplift them. It's their story, and whoever's in the spotlight, everything else, the universe shifts on an axis around them, is my belief.
Yeah.
No, see, even Maul does to support Devon. I genuinely believe this show is Devon's show, and Maul is a side character.
So you reckon it's going to shift to be more her story plot?
Yep, she'll get her own show afterwards.
See, I think she's going to be a device to show Maul's constant failure of the dark side, where because in Rebels he always wants an apprentice. The last thing he said to Ezra was, "We could have walked this path as friends, as brothers," and he always fails to get an apprentice. So for me, it was always like, you always keep making the same mistake because you can't help yourself. And I feel like, you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
I think maybe that'll tell the story again for him.
Yeah, but I don't think she'll die. I think he'll fail her and she'll transcend him or go somewhere else. And then Devon's story will carry on.
Where would she fit in universe?
Well, if she was in cryostasis or something, she could wake up a couple of 100 years later and go under Darth Crate. Who knows? Like, they can go left, right, up, down with that. You know, they've killed people and brought them back. They don't need to do that. But she would have to get outside of the known universe, though. Filoni, again, and Disney, one of their biggest sins is staying in Empire slice of the timeline. Some would say it's good because they don't bump into the sides, but like, I would love to see something outside of the Empire timeline. I like Devon as a character. I hope season 2, Maul's like, you know what? I'm not a Zabrak anymore. You're not a Twi'lek. We're like family. And pulls out the tattoo gun. He's going to do it. If she is going to be Talon, she's going to get the tattoos, and it's going to be awesome. I loved her rage. That rage at the end. Okay, let's go into episode 10 and start breaking it down in the comments, because her rage scream felt so natural to me. This is what I wrote in my notes. Vader immediately overwhelms Maul, Darky, and Devon and re-injures Maul's leg. That was getting sad. Like, I just couldn't believe he chopped his like torso, and Maul's like, "Fuck, dude!" Everybody. Vader had been there for 2 seconds, didn't even know that he had a leg problem. Check this out, bitch.
Yeah, I was waiting for Darky to do a little nickel as well. Yeah. I mean, like, I think I think they maybe overused it as a device to show that he is injured. And I think they really tried to nail it back to the audience, where I was just like, he's injured. That's why he's failing. He's injured. Because, like you said, maybe we have that expectation that he is this almighty shredder. I think they just really overused the fact that he had that leg problem. Oh, Darky.
Oh, Darky. Is this the end one? I tried to get to a couple of clips. I want to get a still at least. Oh man, Darky. I love him. So look, Vader, he's posing like a bitch. He learned that from Obi-Wan. If he had his hands on his hips, I would have cried with laughter.
I love the fact how like Maul's crew was running back and they're like, there's something there, and he just pulls her back. I was like,
Oh,
that
I
is
thought it was
terrifying.
like a
So good.
trash compactor monster. And I thought that idiot ran ahead. I saw Vader. I thought this is real as it gets. Let's go, baby.
It was so good.
So the next thing is Maul and Devon briefly force pushed Vader back. And I think that was really interesting that everything they could do, the best you could do to Vader was slow him down, not stop him. And they knew that. That was like literally it. It's like, oh, he's like, oh. And he's like, oh, he was more like Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise. He just kept coming. I was like, they played Jedi Survivor because this is a great portrayal.
Absolutely. That actually comes into question now. Where exactly are we in the timeline? Because I see the stormtroopers, the helmets are still very clone-esque and not full trooper.
That's
Like,
just, I think, a design choice, dude.
You reckon? Because I thought that was like showing the early formations of the stormtroopers.
Oh, good. I thought it was just another whack thing where, Rebels, they did Ralph McQuarrie art. And this, they were like, this is our interpretation of a stormtrooper. How much more dickish and dumb can they look?
Yeah, because this is where I think because Solo should be starting a bit after. You know how he has that useless force pull and he's like, kiddo, we're going to be working a lot closer together. And he
Oh.
ignites it for no reason. He's sitting on a throne in that scene.
Yeah, we're going to see the rise in season 2 of him with the Crimson Dawn for sure. That's what it's going to be. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where Solo sits in the timeline because it's so convoluted. They like just hyper focus on one sliver so much. It's like, oh.
Sorry, I'm looking at the comment section where it says the Mandarin, lol. The TK
troopers.
Yeah, can you please refresh my memory on a TK trooper? My brain is flatlining on that word.
Are you a Star Wars fan? You don't know what a TK trooper is?
I'm getting shamed right now because
shame him, people. Shame him what a TK trooper is.
My brain is dying. I'm so sorry. I can hear Drop Air just like quivering in silence right now because I forgot this.
Why can't I even get this? No, I got no idea. I don't know what a TK trooper is, and that's
okay.
I don't know what ships are. When someone's like, "That's the executor," of course, and I'm like, "Fuck!" Like, I don't know
non-clone stormtroopers. Sorry.
Beautiful. No, that makes sense why they're so dumb. I thought it was designed, and I don't know troopers. Like, I know you'll show me a phase 1, and I'll be able to tell that because of the very distinct Centurion design and shit. But like, I can't. That's it. I'm such a Force lover that's kind of, they all look the same to me. Like I'm Agent Smith in the Matrix.
So you weren't a big fan of like the clones themselves and their story? Because I love the clones and their stories. Like they're like easily one of my favorite things about the Clone Wars is the clone element. Like that's why I liked elements of the Bad Batch.
Dude, I am horrible, elitist. I like, if you don't have a lightsaber in your hand, you are fodder.
Oh my, fair enough.
Oh yeah. I'm not like some Rex, absolute frother. Oh, Captain Rex, Cody. Like I just like, I'll do it for other characters. I'm not better than you. It's just people, like if I want to learn about ships, I'll go to Eckhart's Ladder and watch him talk about that shit. But for me, my eyes roll back in my head and I'm like, okay, some variant thing on a thing.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Oh,
who's that trooper? Who was the trooper though? The old one that was like, I can be helpful and got killed. I cried. That's another teary.
99.
I got teary, dude. I was like,
I'm a soldier too. I was born for this. And Quasimodo was just sprinting. Yeah.
Oh,
that was 99. Yeah.
Oh, it destroyed me.
I liked it. I love that episode.
So I think that the cool thing is that they had time to do a philosophical questioning, which is very, Maul's pushes given to rage, and Darky resists holding with the Jedi philosophy. And I think that I like it that like Maul had a moment to be like, I was trained by Darth Sidious, and it didn't seem contrived, the exposition, where he said that to Devon. And I also loved like because the episodes were so action packed, but all the information, a lot of it was exposition, but it didn't feel bogged down. He's not like, my name is Darth Maul. I was born on, it just the moments. The best part for me was Darky said it's Darky time when he said that the Shadow Lord, Maul's like the Shadow Lord. Did he just say the title of the fucking show?
Yeah, he did. We must be cautious of the Shadow Lord.
Yeah, I was like, yes, yes. It's so dumb, but I was like, I loved it.
Have we
God, that
figured
guy's
out?
voice actor was good.
Have we figured out what he? Do you know? There's only one thing about Darky that sort of tilts me, and I don't know why. It's his teeth. He's got
I
some
thought,
big chompers on him. I don't know why.
here we go. What's Coleman Trebane? I think Coleman Trebane,
Yeah,
the dude that dies in episode 2 at the Geonosian Arena. I thought that they were
Yeah.
the same race. He was just like short. I looked it up. They're not. Colmore. I have Coleman Trebane. Trebor. You know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
I thought they were the same dudes. The guy that gets blasted by Django's beautiful gun, like, doo, doo, and he goes at the edge.
Yeah, but I think his head thing is a little bit like weirder.
Fucking splitting hairs. I hate when Star Wars creates an alien that looks exactly like another alien with one little tip, and you look like go cross-eyed, going, "What's the difference?" I know there's a bigger difference, and all the dinosaur lovers like Stupendous Wave are probably screaming if they heard me say that. But for me, he's a green dino guy. He's.
Do you reckon they made him look like a wizard because the internet, when they used to fight, they're like, you just like space wizards? Do you think they purposely made his aesthetic, like even his little cap thing, look like a little wizard?
I don't know. I thought that you wanted to underestimate him and that Maul has the sex appeal of the red saber and the staff, and Ducky's just like, caution, caution. Don't steal that fruit. I know you're starving, but don't do it. And you're just like, shut the fuck up. Like everything about him was old man boring. And
Yeah.
that was the part as a teenager. You can see how Devin's like, let me walk around a little bit with this saber. You know, they don't have the institution of the Jedi around. The world is crumbling. It's like post-apocalyptic to them, and they're being hunted. So the morality it weighs you down. It's easy to say treat people kindly when you've got 3 square meals living in a Jedi temple staring at a tree half the day meditating. But when you're in the dirt, in the gutter with the rest of us, guess what?
Well, see,
It's
it's funny because when I looked at him and then I looked at Rebels with Kanan and the shit they used to get up to and do and like steal from the Empire, and obviously it was from the Empire, never from anyone else, but they seem to be a lot more grungier as a collective. And that's probably because Darky is a master and Kanan was just sort of like a true survivor. Even like his backstory. Then he become like a drunk on Corellia or some shit.
Can we talk about Bad Batch Kanan having the voice of a 47-year-old man?
We can.
That was
they should have like changed the pitch a little bit,
modulated a little bit more. Not like, hey, Freddie Prinze, have you been out drinking and you've got like a bad flu?
Smoker's
like,
cough and shit. Like,
yeah, and he's like, all right, my name's Kanan. I was like, fuck. What are you, 12?
How old was he meant to be there? Do we know?
I don't know.
14 or some shit. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that's actually funny. Do you remember the old was it Forces of Destiny where they used to do little cartoons? And they
That's
brought
the
back
one where Anakin looks like a girl.
Maybe. But
no, it was like anime, like he looks like a full woman. Like it was catered towards young girls, I believe, so that the animation style, they were all asexual. Like they
Yeah?
Don't you remember?
No, I'm trying to picture Anakin looking real feminine. I know Luke sort
Ultra.
of did. But yeah, there was this, did you remember the one where there's Luke on Dagobah talking to Yoda and they used Mark Hamill's voice, like old Mark Hamill's voice? Nah, have a little. I'll send it to you after. Yeah, it's funny.
I'll be so
Wait,
mad,
Dash,
dude.
I don't remember. What are we not remembering? Adorn? Sorry if I butchered that. Adorny?
You guys don't remember Forces of Destiny? The the pretty, the guys. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I made fun of that when it came out, and I got so much flack. This was before the culture war started, and people were just getting into it. It was around the time there was a fan theory going around that Captain Rex was on Endor. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, they were shoehorning in the Easter egg. Filoni and Disney were into it. And then people were like, that dude's 3 shades too white. I say as showing my white skin. To be Rex. So therefore that is a racially charged, like that is insensitive. And Disney just rescinded on it. They're like, it's not that guy anymore. Don't worry. Rex wasn't on Endor. I was like, whoa. So that was like around that time when Disney started to, the shift in the culture.
But they brought him in Rebels though, didn't they?
Yeah, but it was the
when
fact that he was tan in Rebels, remember? This guy was clearly like a very white dude that looked kind of like Rex with a beard, old Rex. So like, hey, that's Rex. And then the internet erupted as it does. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is not a real conversation. He could have been a communications expert. He's a clone, this guy, I forget his name, for like 20 years and didn't see the sun. And so, he lost some melatonin or melon or whatever it is. A million explanations, but again, it's stupid. It's so stupid I shouldn't even talk about it. But that was the time. So yeah, when I said Forces of Destiny was a little kids' girl show or whatever, which was true, it was marketed as that. People lost their minds.
Yeah, I mean, even like if he was on the Battle of Endor and he looked a bit of white, man, he's just a bit dusty, just been in the battle. There's so many ways you could look at that.
Yeah, it's crazy to project all that nonsense onto it. I just
100%. But
anyway,
so
let's move away from that.
Are we trying to find the scene where he gets that big ass gash from Vader?
Who? Maul?
Maul. Was like when he gashed him, when Vader gashed him, he didn't gash his leg. Did he gash his hip?
Hip, yeah, but that he got the gash in the hip before from Marek, didn't he? Marok?
I don't know. There was a few gashes, a few kicks to his leg.
Oh,
Like you said,
oh.
they kept dog hitting his leg.
Look. Come on, get up, bitch. Take a gash.
Take a gash.
I used to hate that they stopped the sabers having the round tips. Now I really like the sword tip. I really do.
There is a cat on my table. Excuse me. How did you find when Maul said go? Like he sort of self-sacrificed himself almost. Did you find that he was trying to be like he was teetering on the side of?
Yeah. I don't think Maul is a full Darksider anymore in the fact that he's realized that the Emperor's so wrong that he will actually make changes himself. Where did I miss that gash? Where is the gash? I saw it in the
there it is. Oh,
there. Oh,
there.
that was nasty.
Oh, just below the hip. Oh,
nasty pasty.
Does it actually feel pain?
Apparently, because he has a squawk about it. I can't play the audio. I get demonetized. Disney comes at me sideways.
Because that looks like it shouldn't be operational at that point, hey?
No. Looks like he lost his upper quad and glute medial, like his legs shouldn't function at all. I guess if he has like 2 boots legs underneath and that all the outside is just fake, it's for show, like extra durability. But no, that thing should be cooked.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like at this point. With Maul especially, like I think I touched on it before. It's just like, are we gonna see that compassionate sort of Maul with Devon? You said like you hope he tortures her. Are we gonna see more of that compassion? Is Devon's fall, if she falls, going to be really tragic?
Look, this is how the dark side sees things, in my opinion. pain in rage or strength, which Maul hammered over and over again. Use your trauma, use your anger. So he's going to put her through her paces of reliving the nightmare of fighting Vader, her master dying, and teaching her that the Jedi are bitches, that they taught her to shy away from anger and hold hands. But once his rule is absolute, I think we'll see the true Maul come out, and just maybe Devon might actually turn around in the end and say your lessons are null and void, and I'm going to become not. This is cool, by the way, the double saber stuff they were doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the Jedi. I actually loved how Maul's saber was split. Like first with his fight with the Inquisitors, where he used dual saber. Loved it. I love that this. They really thought out all these fights. Like let's do different things with sabers and throw one saber to another, etc. Everything was like a cool new moment.
Mm. Was even like when he had that when he split his saber apart, he sort of almost had like he almost looked like Ahsoka a little bit.
What's that Jark high, that style?
Yeah.
Showing
Yeah.
that like he just knows what's up. Across
Yeah,
the
he's so
board.
versatile. Because in Maul, you'll know this, in his EU lore, did he know just Form 7 or was he trained in all forms?
I assume he was trained in all forms by Sidious.
Mm.
I don't remember specifically. What's his form called? Juyo? He
Juyo.
uses? Yeah.
I think so, Juyo, yeah.
I'm probably saying it wrong. It sounds racial when I say it. I'm sorry. But yeah, he uses that primarily. I think he relies on it heavily because it throws people off. Same as Varpad, which is like they share the form, don't they? Juyo / Varpad.
Mm. That's
Mm.
right. What's Vapad? That's like, is that Form 6?
7, same as Juyo, I think. Or is it
It's like
8?
it's like his own random sort of
I
form,
don't know.
isn't it?
I always thought that they shared there's elements that they shared, but I do know that Maul would like you'd have to be if the Grand Inquisitor trained. Remember how he'd always shit talk about which style someone was using, and then how he would counter that. Maul had to learn every style because the whole thing was the Sith was domination through understanding, like how in the EU they used red synthetic crystals to dominate because they would help short out, the normal crystal, like they were synthetic and that, gave them an edge. Everything's about getting an edge.
Mm.
Variation of Form 7. There we go. Mace-based Varpad off Juyo.
Uh-huh. With her, you remember how her rage, would have liked her to keep chasing Vader and Maul not stopping her just to see what would have happened?
She'd get killed. She'd
No,
get a
but
rock in one of her leku and it should get brain damage because she'd be like, Maul would be
yeah,
like, I can't do anything with that.
I was surprised. Like, it was good that Vader said nothing and it made him more terrifying. But I
Yes.
would have loved something like, it would have been wise to surrender. Like what he said, like to Cal or something. Or like, I think did Maul clock who he was?
No, he was like, he even said, you're not some inquisitor, you're more like he clocked, he probably was in a but he wasn't like, I tried to run you down. I know your force energy signature, nothing like that, which would have been hilarious if they both acknowledged that. Maul was like,
Do you
yeah,
remember
Vader,
Tatooine?
get on your fucking bike, Maul. Maul's like, tries to run him
Yeah.
over.
Imagine, I was always thinking, it's like, does Vader still hold resentment even as Vader that Qui-Gon died? Does he still like mourn him? Because imagine if he said that, it's just like, yeah, it's like you killed my master. That'd been funny as.
I made a video on that because
Yeah.
Maul robbed Vader of his light side future effectively. He killed his mentor, his father figure, his chance. He would be the chosen one light side. Like, obviously, he has to go through the paces, and the Force is an absolute C word for making him do it. But Vader draws his strength from anger, and it's more despair.
Yeah.
Like he's a victim of fate, the Force, and he's angry that what he's done and what he's become. And I think that absolutely he'd remember Maul for that. And so the fact he didn't say anything shows how far gone he is already. I actually, because surely he's thinking it.
Does Vader know who he is?
He
Does
tried
he
to run him
remember?
over as a child. You're not going to
Yeah,
forget that.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but
Yes. Okay. Here's how it goes. EU Vader created a bot called Proxy, which obviously in Force Unleashed had many programs for Starkiller to fight. One of them was Darth Maul. In canon, Anakin Skywalker, as a teenager in front of the Jedi Council and Palpatine watching, he was happy, created a training program with a double-bladed lightsaber, and it was like Maul. So he 100% has him as this is the guy I have to beat to prove that I could beat the guy that killed Qui-Gon, that, revenge on the guy that killed my father. And perhaps we're going to get more of that narrative in season 2, where Vader's going to be like, you took everything from me, bro. And we'll be like, I don't even know who you are.
So you think we're going to see them again?
Yeah.
Together?
Oh, yeah.
See, I think we're going to see more of the Inquisitors again.
We will, but I think that this has to have an effect on Vader because Maul is the nexus point of where his whole identity fractured, his whole future fractured. There has to be something. Maybe he doesn't face Maul because he feels weak because Anakin's pissed about it. Maybe that's why he sends the Grand Inquisitor. He's like, these people are beneath me. But inside, as Vader does, he goes and has a cry, kind of like Maul does in the puddle. He'll go in his meditation chamber.
It's a little weep about it.
Oh, dude.
Oh, but all in all, like what you saw today versus what you saw in the rest of the season, out of 10, how would you rate it? Because remember last time you gave it a great score, and for some reason people still like jumped on you. I don't get that. I thought your score was so balanced, and for the first 2 episodes,
I'm starting to think that some fans, there is a culture war going on where Star Wars, because I've made mistakes in other fandoms and people don't care. Star Wars is more you're either with me or you're against me, like Sith absolutes, where they're like, this is our camp, and if you deviate from it, you're the enemy. And so me saying more, I think the first 2 episodes I gave an 8.5 out of 10 because I thought it was slow. I thought there was, the killing thing really detracted, whereas killing robots, and it wasn't as great. Then 3 and 4 came out, and I went, whoa. I did feel that Maul's power scaling was off, and I didn't think that Maul needed to come back narratively. But now that he has, and this show's so good, I'm not going to keep on talking. I'm going to say a 9.3 out of 10, and it would be a 9.7 if those fucking droids didn't exist. That spy droid especially, or Vario being like, hey guys, what's going on? How come Maul hasn't killed me? A Darksider would just pick that piece of shit up and toss him in the trash like the refuse he is. I get that he probably wants to use him later, but that comedic stuff brings me back to the Clone Wars, and I feel Filoni's Clone Wars DNA every time a stupid droid talks or a stupid Vario gets to live. And that's just me. I don't like tonally. I don't like the whiplash where if you're selling me like this, the fights was so good, and then you have those moments of levity break it up. It's like, ha ha ha, guys. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Don't you dare.
I mean, like, look, that score is high. That is extremely
I really
high.
like it. And this is for a dude who doesn't want Maul to survive, technically. I don't think he should. This is a Star Wars. This is the first time I felt that Star Wars feeling multiple times where I've got that breath in my, like, I can't wait for how's it going to resolve? I know Vader is how Vader's story ends and Maul's, and yet I'm still on the edge of my seat, which is even harder to do. Like, yeah, I'd tip the cap there.
Yeah, no, like I'm very close to a 10, especially on the last episode, because I thought that was outstanding. Like those whole 2 last episodes for me were they were phenomenal. But even a 9 out of 10 is an outstanding score. Because I honestly think that 10s out of 10s are unattainable, because that's like you can't be that perfect. Just in every part of art, you know what I mean? That's
Of course.
subjectively, I think you can say it's a 10 to you, but objectively, I'm not necessarily going to say that it's going to be 100%
No,
perfection. But
I don't believe in it. Like, let's say one of the
yeah,
games, Ocarina of Time, gets pretty close to a 10, and I think it is, but there are so many flaws you can pick up as soon as you pick up the control. I think
yeah,
that the feeling that it gives you overrides the negative so much that it boosts it, and you love it despite knowing that it should be a couple of points down.
yeah, 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 yeah. Was
Oh, my man.
oh,
I
I
love
was
Lawson so much.
see that was tragic, and I was just like, you know what? It's good. They're setting the tone. For once, they're setting the tone that you have to expect loss, especially in the
Yeah.
second one. We're gonna get a real darker one, and I can't even tell you how excited I am for season 2. And it's gonna be
In
up there. When are they gonna release it?
2029.
Oh, what? 2029?
I don't know, dude. This is what they
Oh,
do. This is
fuck.
why.
I thought you actually
No, I'm being cheeky. That's what they do. Look at Ahsoka. Like, okay, I really liked The Boys and Invincible, and they're already out with seasons I haven't seen because I get so sick of waiting. I forget the last season. I have to go back and watch it again. And I think it's the biggest sin of modern television where they expect you to wait 2, 3 years and you're not fresh enough. Whereas they used to make TV, even the Clone Wars, for example, they'd make like almost like
Mm,
weekly episodic things. It's just like, fuck,
mm.
figure it out. I don't need sexist animation. Surely the process has gotten quicker.
Sure, I think it has. And I think this I think one little kudos I can say, just quickly interject there, Scarlet Thunder, that's a really hot take, man. That score is a hot take.
No, I wanna know why Thunder is
Mm.
giving it a 6, baby. I love it.
But with Dave Filoni, one thing I say, like each animation he's done has been tweaked and it's different. See, I love this one because when I looked at it, it reminded me of, again, I know you might not like it, but like Ralph McQuarrie back in the day when they used to do the old movies. For example, the backdrop of Cloud City was completely painted. And this time when you saw it,
I love matte painting.
some of the backgrounds of this show were matte painted.
No,
And I think I
I love the
love
aesthetic.
that.
I
It
some
was
people
so
don't.
good.
I love that color matte that they put on it. To be
Uh-huh.
honest, it does have all of the hallmarks of the Clone Wars where they've let the color run, like color matte on top of it. I don't mind it, but to that point, Filoni is Filoni. There's a Filoni verse, just like there's a George Lucas universe, and this is the best version. He's learned lessons. I give him all of his flowers, but at the end of the day, it's more of Dave Filoni. So, like, I'm
Has he
happy this
learned?
show exists, but I don't want
Has
him
he?
to do 27 other shows just himself. Ahsoka 2, Ahsoka 7, you know what I mean? Thrawn, where he changes EU characters. Like, I don't need more Filoni too much. I like that what he's done with it and he's learned. He has. This is the most satisfying animated Maul I've seen, but I don't want 47. Like, I want more of this, but I don't want the other stuff, to be honest. I don't.
Has he learned or is he unchained?
Yeah, and then you come in. This is we're going to call this show the Shill and the Grifter because I'm so EU focused and you're so optimistic. You're like a younger dad. Actually, you're younger than me by how many years? 5?
I'm 37.
You old chunk of coal. Don't listen to this guy, kids. Listen to your Uncle Dash. Young, Gen Z, 40, bald.
Gen Z 44 ball.
40 bald. Yeah. I'm not going to use the M word. I hate it now. It's like
What,
I
millennial?
saw a show. Yeah. Oh, I saw a girl go, I'm a millennial cat mom, and I nearly threw up. I was like, stop. It's not cute anymore. We're
Yeah, that's
midlife
horrible.
now. It's not cool. Just let go. Accept your age. We're
Yeah.
basically boomers though in Star Wars years. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
what Disney was doing before, and I've thought on this, as you know, you and I both think on things a lot and talk about it. I think Disney was trying to double their audience because clearly Star Wars was made for men. It has the word war in it. And George Lucas said it, young boys, war. I think Kathleen Kennedy was hired because she said, well, I'm a woman and I can double our audience by getting young girls. And it was a lot harder than she thought. And they disavowed men and shit on them pretty much with, just how they handle things and the core fans. And now you may be right that we have seen a contained version of Filoni, and this is Filoni Unchained. Like, what if this is the beginning, as you said, and I'm open to this because I don't have a fucking choice. Filoni starts a new show and it's just like even more peak. Because I think Filoni's biggest sin is he's a great artist, but he's great at kids shows generally. And when he goes, like, my biggest complaints is Maul would be better in live action. Maul, I want to see more violent and unleashed, if you will. And Filoni's done kids shows really well. So I'm like, we'll just give it to somebody else. But the thing about kids shows, I think, and I've thought about this, is that kids age out. They're not as critical. They're not us. They're not 35, 40, or sorry, 37, 40. Harder to please. We have the depth of knowledge and breadth, and we have standards. Kids go, I love Clone Wars because it's my childhood, or I love Rebels because it's my childhood, or you know, you insert whatever that is, and it might be a 7 out of 10, but for a kid, it's a 10 out of 10. Like whatever show you liked as a kid is a 10, and that's easier to placate children. And so I think if Filoni is Unchained, perhaps he's going, like, I genuinely believe that the EU did so well because George's stories, and same as Disney and same as Filoni, are this. They are based on the hero's journey, and there's like 7 steps on how the hero starts. He gets hurt, he goes through change, he's changed, and that's the end. Like there's these steps in the hero's journey. George famously did it. That's why he said this is poetry and it rhymes. And Filoni is his apprentice, so he does the same version of storytelling. The EU, I remember when Kreia from KOTOR 2 first was like, I hate the Force because it does things like creates wars, creates the chosen one, and creates balance, and millions of people die. I want to kill the Force. I couldn't even conceptualize somebody wanted to kill the Force. Like all George talked about was the light is the antidote to the darkness and always be a better person. And then the EU was like, fuck the Force. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like it's your name. Philosophy. It's philosophy, and it goes deeper. And so, to my point, and I know this is a big rant, but I like Filoni, but I don't. If he is contained within the George Luke, and I'm an EU guy over George. I'll take the EU over any movie, even the OT, if I had to keep it. The contained version of that, of circling the same storytelling style over and over, to me, gets a little stale, and I don't want that. And that is my 5-minute apologies rant on why Filoni, I take caution as the grifter. Now, tell me, as the shill, why it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Look, like I am a big George Lucas fan, so like, but I think it's great because I do see Dave as he is respectful to George. So I guess there are, like, for example, some other creators that go, if it is more George-esque and George is Star Wars, that's what I'm going to like. Obviously, the EU fans like yourselves, they're always going to gravitate towards more that style. But I just want to, like, for example, Scarlet Thunder said, you know, we need something different. He goes, something different, please. Like, I think we have gotten different things, and the backlash to these different things have been really negative. So even, for example, the Acolyte was a giant piece of shit. It was something different. It was High Republic era. We had something like The Bad Batch, which was different. We've had something like Solo, which is different. Like,
but what I would say to counter that, just for 1 second, if I may, can I? Oh, am I breaking up the thought?
No, go for it.
The 2 most EU things that I've seen in Disney Star Wars is absolutely Andor, embraced, and probably Shadow Lord as well. So because they're more adult, and I think the word adult is missing from the broader conversation because Disney doesn't want adults, and they've shirked it. But people grow up. The bulk of the fan base who are going to spend money, who are going to stay, they're adults. Kids are easier and they spend a lot, but like they just keep on swinging one leg over the fence, being like the Acolyte is more adult, but clearly that was a female driven, you know, they openly stated they didn't like men, or they wanted to piss men off or something. I forget what it was. Leslie had said something about the misogyny of George Lucas had to end, or some crap like that, like the antithesis. So they missed the boat completely. But if you're talking about core Star Wars bros and growing up, they're the most grown up projects. So I think that they missed the idea that people don't want to see the Clone Wars at the age, over and over again, and have cutesy droids. And that's the depth and breadth of Star Wars. And that's why the EU, they miss that. They think the EU is something about having an official version of canon. Like they think the EU, the reason why it matters is because people want it folded into canon, but it's not. It's adult stories from a plethora of artists telling their own stories in the universe that were respectful to what came before, but also were very creative and focused at adults. I genuinely believe that, and that the through line for George is obviously the hero's journey and more not kid friendly, but they are kid friendly. And so I think that Filoni carrying the torch is still in the vein of George and not stretching out to adults. But when they do, Andor and Shadow Lord, there is a hungry audience. Hungry.
There is. I mean, like, I think elements of EU can be brought to life because, like you said, it was a plethora of artists that brought more adult versions. But so, for example, as a Star Wars fan, I don't ever want to see the Yu Zhongvong. See, like, I know that might hurt some people. Like,
we're gonna have a different host every week on the show.
No, see, like, I hated the Vong. I hated the fact of organic beings being impenetrable to the Force when the Force is meant to reside in all living things. See, like, I hated that. It just completely negates the Force. See, like, I thought that was sloppy, like the Vong themselves. So, like, or if, for example, having Luke clones like Luke, and Luke, I was just like,
what are you doing, dude?
What
are you doing?
I'm trying to say, like, there are elements of like.
I'm joking. I agree. I don't like the Vong. I don't like Luke. I don't like Shadow or whatever. Like there's I guess the EU. The EU, yeah, but that's the beauty of it, is if 95% of it was crap, they made so much that the 5% carried. Whereas Disney just shuts down projects as soon as they get bad price. So you could be right that Filoni could open it, but I think Filoni should be the new George and create the through line and that, like, the main universe sliver, but create a new EU, a multiverse, excuse me, if you have to, and open it up. Open it up beyond Filoni. That's all I'm asking.
Oh, 100%. But in saying that, couldn't we just, like, obviously those EU stories, was that what they call now legends, Star Wars legends now, was there. Is there something in particular that you want to be created? Because if we're going to say let's create a new EU, that means, for example, characters like Revan and all that, they're going to be left as legends. Can we retell those stories?
Well, there's the hard part, isn't it? No, and then they bastardize them. Then people go, "Oh, Starkiller's Marok," and there's 27 reasons why that's wrong. And by corrupting or changing, or whatever word you want to use, the core pieces of the EU characters, they're no longer themselves. And so that is a broader conversation too.
It is. Scarlett, he has backed off in terms of, like, things like the Acolyte and what was it? What was that cartoon that was, like, about those racing kids and stuff? Remember that? Starfighter? I can't remember what the fuck it was.
Oh, yeah. But they have to do those whack little kid cartoons.
Yeah. Like, he has backed off in areas, and you can see when Filoni touches something, and you can see when someone that is not Filoni touches something. And I'm going to say, besides things like Andor, and, like, the things that he hasn't touched have been absolute dog shit. In comparison, they have.
Look at The Mandalorian, like, dude. It gets worse over time. It's just like, this is a fire concept.
I don't believe that's him. Because
when Favreau comes out and goes, "Hey, I've got season 4 on my desk," I wrote.
Resistance, that's it.
I go, uh-oh. Does that mean they've bastardized his work and that Filoni's taken it and done a pulpy Flash Gordon adventure that's light and stuff? Like, is that Filoni's doing, or is it Kathleen's? Obviously, it's too early. Production cycles are what, like 5 years? 2-3 years before they even start shooting. So
ever since Spielberg said that story about Kathy, where she would just annoyingly interject and she would say dumb shit, like, "What if the dog gets the girl?" Like the audacity to say that in like a pitches meeting or something. That just rings like Kathleen. Like everything we've seen that has been whack, she's gotten her weird little grubby opinions in it. She was a bit of a tyrant. She was a tyrant.
I'm gonna say the best thing that I'm saving for a video, and it's so much fun. You're gonna melt, dude.
Okay.
Everybody's gonna switch your eye right. Get ready to turn this stream off. You're gonna hate me. Remember when Kathleen Kennedy sat there and looked George dead in the eye, and George gave them the treatment for 789, which is basically this Maul Shadow Lord show, the George version, which could be what we're seeing a lot of the pieces right here. Remember that? How she said, "We are going to honor your legacy and do what you've asked," and then they just didn't. She lied.
Yeah, 100%.
To his face.
Yep. And then she says that we have no reference material for anything. I was just like,
yeah, that was dumb.
The internet is forever, Kathy. We know.
Here's my thing. George isn't the strongest writer. Episode 2, the dialogue of the prequels, like some of it, he should have got a third party to help him out in some parts. We can't be strong at everything. His world building is insane, and his vision. This is the fun part. This is where the fun begins. What if, I'm taking myself off screen for this. What if George's treatment for 789 was so dog shit? Kathy showed people and they're like, there's no fucking way we can make this. We cannot, in conscience, make a movie on this. It is that bad.
Nah. The only reason I don't agree with it.
No, it's not true. This is tinfoil hat, but how funny would that be if everybody was like, we can't, I'm going to burn this. I can't, I'm dumber from reading this script. And so they had to, but they couldn't publicly say, hey, we had to write our own 789. And that was the whole reason that they were fumbling and they were behind, because they thought, we've got George's script, let's start. And they like, it was written in crayon and it was like, Maul is back and he win. They were like, what the, you're George Lucas. He's like, me sell to you, idiot, 4 billion. Haha.
I honestly, do you know why I would only give that some sort of attention? And it's because if you remember the promotional material for Force Awakens, it felt like they were so scarred because they thought that the prequels that George done was the damage that was done to Star Wars. Because you remember the promotional material, they're like, we're not using that situation, we're using practical effects. We're going back to the old storytelling. That's why when the Force Awakens came out, all the boomers were like, oh, clapping like seals, but they literally just saw New Hope fucking 2.0. And like, that was strange to me. Like, I couldn't, you know, the biggest sin of the Force Awakens, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, was they...
like I haven't.
No, I know, but like, the worst thing you could ever do in writing is that you beat the big bad in the very first movie. She defeated Kylo in the very first movie, which then makes him a pussy for the next two. It makes him not scary, makes him insignificant, very, very different from when you first saw him, when he force freezes that dude, Finn, and brings him towards him. Then you're like, oh God, this guy's powerful. He's pretty mean. But then you get beaten. Like there's no like anticipation of him actually being anything more than a bitch. And that was the biggest sin they did in storytelling for The Force Awakens. They killed a crucial character. Which one? Are you talking about Han? See, I got a hot take. Han's death in The Force Awakens made sense. If you, it did. It made sense, because if you were meant to have a dark side become that dark, if you remember the EU, the Sith were meant to kill a loved one, weren't they? Like to actually fully ascend, like they were made to kill their parents and stuff. So for me, like that made sense. It's just like how to immerse yourself properly in the dark side by murking your dad, dude. Like that's intense. Like that was intense.
That was tainted though, because you know that Harrison Ford's contract, he wanted it since Return. So it's like, that it works, you could tell. I like that moment with him coming back as a memory, even though that didn't work. The Force Ghost Han, it shows the difference between Harrison Ford and say Daisy Ridley, was fresh actress. How strong his acting was, that he carried those scenes so heavily that emotionally they still hit. I don't like Han dying. I think that I despise J.J. Abrams' work. Just his work. I don't know anything about the dude, but like Lost and shit, I feel lost watching it. Like, I know it's the old joke, but I feel it's so convoluted and silly. And The Force Awakens going back hasn't aged well, and it's the best of the three. But his story through line where he said we're going to do the opposite of Vader, where instead of redeeming, Kylo's going to get worse. I love that. And I was like, I fucking hate actors' egos, because clearly in Adam Driver's contract or whatever, they had to have a Disney prince, him take the helmet off. I wanted him to not take the helmet off for 3 movies till the end, till you see his face. Like, he is the mask, like Boba Fett. And maybe you see his eyes, maybe you see him from behind, but I wanted him to be the Vader fanboy so hard he doesn't take the mask off. Because the menace that Kylo had in Force Awakens, do you know why we used to have fan theories about his eyes, that it was Revan mask, blah, blah, blah. But it was actually waves of force power. That's why it has those waves on the original mask. And he looks like almost like a witch hunting inquisitor or something in that whole spooky gothic getup. And then they changed his outfit. They moved his scar so he's more sexy and accessible. Then the Reylos came in. Everything was diluted and corrupted. But that story, I don't really particularly care for Kylo Ren, but I would watch The Hunt for Ben Solo if they tried to do what they set out with his characters, just to be like, Adam Driver's such a good actor with a good enough script. Let's see what actually happens with a good script. But I just, obviously I would like the sequels to be struck from the record, genuinely. If Filoni said we're doing a multiverse and that doesn't exist and Luke's coming back or not, 100%, I would do it.
See, like I always thought, it's just like they can just dial it back to The Force Awakens and just, tweak a few things. Was the biggest problem I have with Star Wars from that timeline going forward is that I fundamentally despise it. So it's more like any stories they tell after that, I know within myself, I'm going to have such a level of disinterest and I think a lot of fans are going to have that. So like for me, even if they went back and rejigged it, and I think that's the biggest service they could do, and start again from there and maybe have the original story treatments, I think. Because like when I look at it, like the biggest thing about watching Mando season 1 and season 2 before it got too poo-poo was I was like, you know what really sucks about this? I know where it ends. I know where it goes. I know where the timeline goes, and I can't. I hate it. And I found myself being like an old grouch. I think the biggest service they can do to the fandom is probably acknowledge that it was the greatest piece of shit they ever created. Like episode 9 was horrific. Like that was not.
People weren't ready to hear that though. When I made my review and I called it The Rise of Shitwalker, people got so mad at it.
Why did they get mad? Like, I had no understanding. It's just like the more the rose tinted goggles came off, the more people came around.
Yeah, I was a little too early and too abrupt and forward. I wasn't playing the game, and I wasn't used to people being so fanatical. Star Wars, like I said, the fandom, God bless them. I love Star Wars, my favorite fandom, but it's also, there were camps that were coming out, or it was more than Star Wars. It became ugly and it became culture war and political. And if you were on this side, you were this thing. If you're on that, and which I don't think people can be distilled down so easily, nor should they be. It's very dangerous, and it's also careless, and it's just not fun. Because I think a sequels fan is just as much as of a fan than I think anybody. You can like or dislike anything in Star Wars. If you truly in your heart love or dislike it, I don't put you down. I don't think you're as lesser, but people don't like that argument of like, I don't like that. They go, oh, okay, then they project morality on you. Oh, well, then you're a XYZ. You're, I don't even have to go through the list. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that's one of the horriblest things they created. And to be honest, I have a hot take. I don't want people like that in a fandom. They're destructive. No. They're absolutely destructive. And the only thing I can say negatively, like I agree with you about a sequel. A sequel fan is 100% a Star Wars fan, 100%, because subjectively people have the right to like what they want. But what I dislike is disingenuous humans, and I see them on the internet, and they're just internet people, but some of them have microphones, and I dislike how you can just like everything, and that for me is a telltale sign that you're just an ass kisser. And I don't like that. I fundamentally believe that you need to have objectivity in your words and not just say everything. Like at some point, I looked at the internet and I go, Kathleen Kennedy could lay a shit on Bobber's chest and these people will clap like seals. That dude that makes videos crying, he'd fucking clap and you'd
I
cry.
would cry. I would
You'd
cry with
cry.
laughter. I'd love that.
But like, that's my point. It's just like, there's just, exactly, there is such thing as toxic positivity. They don't think it's toxic because they want a paycheck. But, you know,
I don't know.
it does such
See,
a
I
disservice.
think I do. I think those people, Star Wars is so important to people, myself included, that to attack Star Wars is to attack their belief system. And as you know, people will do anything to stay congruent with their belief system. So if Star Wars is nothing but awesome, and you start to objectively poke, they can't take it. It is a religion for a reason. And I think that a lot of people, that's the only thing that they have, myself included, not the only thing I have, but it was so hard for me to accept. And you saw the breakdown of when I said, like, The Last Jedi was terrible, and I realized I was hyping something up, and I saw the direction of where Disney was going was not what I thought. I thought we're going into a golden age to take the EU. You'd be stupid. You would be just the biggest idiot if you didn't take all these wonderful stories and then condense them down and do them nearly one for one. And, you know, like Zack Snyder, God bless him. I don't love the Snyderverse, but he did the Watchmen comic almost one for one, where you go, okay, it shows you don't need a genius to do something. So, like, I thought they'd do that. And so that was really hard for me because I had to give up my identity as not a Star Wars lover, but at the time it felt like it, because people were like, you're a bad person and, you know, you're XYZ because you didn't like The Last Jedi. And so you get shunned by the community. Imagine all the people who are like, you know, Raylo's, and then someone wakes up one day and goes, you know what? I don't think Raylo hooking up is worth all of this drama. And I think that the story's not that good. And then them going, you're a piece of crap, and then attack it. You know what I mean? There's like a cult where if you're not with them, you're against them. And they do very public shamings of that. And I mean, I've been rinsed by the community multiple times now, and it's pretty hurtful.
It's hurtful, but you got to understand these people, and the best way I can describe it is obviously there's people that are passionate about something, but passion is dissolved when it gets turned into insults. And that's one thing I just don't tolerate. And I don't think that an IP like Disney needs to use the internet as necessarily as a metric of what they should do and what they should put in. And I'm going to take this to when I was big in the Battlefront days, when I was, you know, streaming quite consistently back in there on Twitch, where they used a Reddit thread for the community and they sort of based what people on Reddit wanted into the game. And I was just like, you can't please everyone. They tried to cast such a wide net to the internet. And I was just like, a Reddit thread isn't a metric of how you should construct or keep a game alive, in my opinion. I think you should look at the internet, but you shouldn't necessarily give it the stock that it needs to, because people are going to throw out the most wildest shit. And if you get enough loud people, they're going to actually respond to that. So like seeing what people say on Twitter, for example, like they started making posts about the Acolyte needs a season 2 because it's like the second most watched show on Disney Plus. I'm like, yeah, but there's autoplay behind it. Like there's ways that statistics can get skewed. And then obviously these people that make a lot of noise into will come and just make a lot of noise. And hopefully that they're smart enough to be like, they're just noisy people on the internet. And I think a lot of times people who want these things or want these things in certain types of media, they're not actually fans of the IP. They just want to see agendas thrust into the IP. Not that I actually want to go more into the culture war here, but what I'm trying to say is that
No, I agree.
remember how back in the day we used to get a video game and it used to just be done by them without any fan input, and we used to get it and we used to play it, and then after it used to speak for itself if it was good or not.
Well, look at what happened to George, though, with the advent of even the internet. Remember how broken he was after the prequels because people online, the fan boards and stuff. That was before the advent where social media became ubiquitous. So Disney were using metrics of people screeching, excuse me, and that was the height of the culture war back when they were first doing the sequels. So I have some empathy. I was in those meetings, literally, with Battlefront 2 DICE, with the Reddit mods there, like literally the dudes, and they wielded an unholy amount of power because they were like, Reddit says X. And DICE, to their credit, were trying to please everybody because EA was like, we're not making any other games other than SWTOR and mobile games, Galaxy Heroes. You are the flagship game, the big first person shooter, and you have to make everybody happy and make the most money and blah, blah. And they were just like they really cared, those guys at DICE. They were really good, but that's why that happened. I was there when the Dark Magic was written in those meetings, and it was fucking wild. And the Redditors looked exactly like the Redditors would, and they wielded the power so smugly. They were like, the boards won't like this. They literally were saying that shit. And you could see the DICE guys like recoiling, like, oh God. Like they were trying to placate them.
Why wasn't there any cojones? Where was the spine? And that's one
because
thing
they're
I say,
money
like,
men. Money men run Disney or ran Disney, and EA, the money men. And that's why George Lucas said, keep the money men away, because they don't have a spine. They just gravitate towards what's easiest so much. Like George said, this is my vision. I'm creating it, even if it ruins me. And I've got skin in the game. It's my money. Disney went, we're going to do XYZ because it's hot. This is what matters to millennials. 60% of people say this. We want girls, so we're going to get all those things. And they just threw it in a pot. And it's exactly the hodgepodge of they didn't respect the through line of what Star Wars is or what it's about. And they just tried to placate all audiences. So to your point, if we can round back, I think Filoni being taught by George, at least, that's why he can do the through line of the new canon, like the core of Star Wars. I agree that that's what he should be doing, be the new George. Be like, this is the heart. Like, at least somebody who understands it is doing it.
So how come they weren't consulted, like the actual movie creatives, like a Witwer or a Filoni in terms of DICE? Because this just proves to me that's a perfect case study that you have to keep Reddit mods out the fucking door when you're making a game like such a big IP. Like, you know what I mean?
No, everyone out the door, even people like us. You have to cut everybody out and say, I'm a creative. I care about Star Wars. They have to understand it. I care about storytelling first, and everything else comes secondary, And I think, ironically, that's why Tony Gilroy worked for Andor, because he didn't care about Star Wars. So he's like, I'm going to tell a fucking awesome story and have the skin of Star Wars. And that's why, number one, it felt a little bit off, but number two, people loved it because they weren't jamming. And I hate to use blanket statements like agenda, but like they didn't have any agenda to jam. Well, Tony had a couple, but you know what I mean? He just cared about story most, and that's what matters, and that's what's come through. And I think that is the only thing, that's the one God, that's the one tenet that they have to obey. Otherwise, they'll just get cooked again. It'll be Disney debacle, Kathy 2.0. The money men, they just don't care. It's like the dark side, quick and easy. Oh, this is good. Oh, they care about this. 60. I remember in 2015, specifically, the one thing I remember was it said there was this big marketing motto, and I think it was Nike or somebody did this study, and it said 60% of millennials care about a brand more, have said they will spend more money on a brand, like triple money, if it has a social cause attached to it. And that was the downfall of all media at that exact moment, because they all scrambled. Because I don't think corporations have any one group's best interest in mind, and nor should they. They're money-making machines. They should care about what their function is, which is storytelling in this case. And so they just went, okay, that's all we're going to do. We'll just turn everything into a checkbox, and as long as we do that, therefore people will be happy. And that's not how artistry works. People can feel the love. You can tell when the Russos make a fucking Avengers movie compared to another director, because you could feel how much they care. And they were directing Curb Your Enthusiasm earlier. Like, they're not, like, you know what I mean? Then they did Winter Soldier and Infinity War. You can feel the love. I genuinely believe that. You can't fake that.
No, it's true. And it's actually funny that you mentioned that with the Nike, was I remember there's a quote from Michael Jordan back in the day when he brought out his Air Force Ones. And they started questioning him about, like, would you market to Republicans? And he goes, Republicans need shoes too. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, even back in those days, you're trying to see that maybe there was like some sort of political signaling with a brand. Like, for example, only liberals need Jordans, but he's just like, Republicans buy shoes too. So it's just like, don't pigeonhole yourself in some sort of like weird cultural.
You cut out half the country. The problem is, and the reason why I will never talk about that stuff anymore is because, number one, I don't understand the US political climate, as you probably already know. I've said this, and I don't want to have to, which people want, and I don't have skin in the game where I don't want to fight a fight, but drawing those lines and trying to attach to social issues, it's number one dumb because it cuts the audience in half, and you talk down, innately you condescend. Number two, I remember when all the people that were writers and working in the industry, and they still do it, were like, I am a part of the resistance. And they were shilling for Disney, a mega corporation with horrific track record of human rights abuses, where I was like, you're a part of the machine, like rage with the machine. So I just cut all it, but that's a part of the noise that you and I try and divorce from. We don't want to be like, I'm a Star Wars fan. And as soon as you say, I like Disney or I hate Disney, or God, like worse yet, lower on that is like politics or anything, people don't even hear your Star Wars opinion. They want to say, oh, well, you're a right wing or you're a left or you're a this or that. And it's so like, I'm so sick of it. And I don't agree with pigeonholing or putting people down that have other beliefs. Like I said, you can love the sequels. You're a Star Wars fan. You can be left, right, up, down. I don't care. If you say I love it and you genuinely mean it, and you're not some like little piece of crap shill or grifter, like you pretend to love or hate something just for monetary gain, they're on the same level as the corporations that don't care, that say we care about social issues or story, and they just care about money. I hate those people. I disavow them. But everybody else, I'm not going to minimize you and be so reductive to be like, you're X and therefore you're lesser than me. I'm like, you are the same. You are a fan. I do not agree. So let's only argue about what we love and dislike about Star Wars and keep it cute. Let's not do this culture war crap anymore. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to disavow another human being.
No, Star Wars is meant to bring people together, not divide. And that's
which is the crazy thing. Yeah. It's so, I've got that fatigue so bad, as you do. It is like a swamp. I'm like, I'm not doing it. And it draws you in. You want to do it. You want to make these blanket statements and just be like, well, screw you when somebody says something that's antithetical to your belief system. But I think that we're forgetting that the number one thing is respect and not being rude to other people, and that it shows who those people are. And maybe they might become better when you show them grace and actually be like you've seen my Twitter's blown up lately, which is weird. And I've been talking, people are saying they love the sequels. And I've been saying, like, they're saying the sequels are flawless and shit like that. And I'm like, or you can't, here's a big one. You can't cast younger actors solo, prove that. And I was like, Ewan McGregor is universally loved, and he took the mantle from Sir Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan. It is 100% doable. Don't start that garbage. But I don't think they're a lesser person because I disagree. And I'm not going to be like, you're lesser fan, or, I just disagree with a statement. But it's got me a lot of heat, as you've seen, just by talking to these people, being like, no, I don't agree with you.
It's almost just like we're looking at the last surviving drags of that sort of political climate. As I do, like you said, I think a lot of people have this fatigue of the culture war. And now looking at this show that we've just watched, it shows that they're not paying attention to it. And I fucking love that. It's just like, how long did it take to learn a valuable lesson? Like, I don't necessarily, I think corporations need to stop seeing that. You need to stop trying to hammer down personal issues until it starts obviously hurting the money men. Then they just change their tunes completely. You just need to let people tell a story. You need to let art be art. And I think that's the best part. You need to let art be art.
You and I both amp each other up so much, and we always go down like this rabbit hole existential thing where people.
Sorry, guys.
Do you mind? No. Do you mind? We'll get better at it. We'll keep shows for that, and then breakdowns for breakdowns. But let's go through some comments and give everybody their juice, because I know that it's probably 2 a.m. Some people have nodded like off literally. So I apologize, but we'll discuss the comments now and get it going. So, have redone this. Brittany, a Queen of Winnipeg, says, what's up with Maul pushing Darky once? You've already read this. I made you read it as the first comment, right?
Mm-hmm.
The push. So Darky got pushed into Vader's attack sphere, but it was a funny nudge. I thought, at least, like he said, he'll go ass over or something into the saber, or he would stumble and then the saber would come down. Not him look back like, really, Maul? And I'll be like, have a try.
Yeah, that was a weird one for me, because I was kind of just like, because Maul said a couple of times, he's like, go. go, I'll hold them off. Was he just kind of like, now it's your turn?
Well, no, because he sensed that the moment was Devon's mine if he dies, and he went, "Well, you survive, you're worth it. You die, which I know you're going to. Devon's mine." Should have gone.
Hmm. Vader versus literally everyone, and my guy barely broke a sweat. People saying Maul nerfed. Nah, man, we just finally got to see how strong Vader is, and he's not even peak yet. Only thing on that is that it's not like Maul tore up the Inquisitors either. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yes, he was injured. I think
Yeah,
if we saw Vader anything less, that does a disservice to his character. He needs to be constantly terrifying. So, for example, like when what Dash said before in the video game Jedi Survivor, when you saw Sia Junda and you have that fight, ultimately you lose, but Maul is limping away and is all cut up,
Vader.
which is completely negates on the first on Jedi Fallen Order, where she runs towards him and he goes, "Fuck off." Like, it's completely different. Like, you can't have Vader that cut up. You can have Vader being in a good duel, because I think a Jedi Master is a Jedi Master and a Sith Lord is a Sith Lord. I think they're meant to be, for me personally, they're meant to be the best of the opposite spectrums. I don't think one is meant to overpower the other necessarily. I think they're meant to show the differences and obviously where they can fall in a battle. So, like, seeing Vader in a good duel, but ultimately winning, because it is Anakin at the end of the day. He is that powerful. But to see him murk someone very easily that is not a Jedi Master, that for me, that's kind of like he needs to at least put up a fight. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah,
Agreed. Agreed. I
yeah,
think that Maul should be able to murk Inquisitors, but not Vader. That's the scaling.
yeah.
Samuel B66 was the guy who gave me the Marok info about where he thinks he's going to die to an Maul, and then obviously be resurrected by the Night Sisters. So that's really cool to see you, Sam.
Unless Marok is already a contained fart.
Contained fart. He could be. Maul's legs getting damaged drinking game.
Yeah, how many times you see it and you take a drink?
The show was amazing by Daniel 280699.
It was. I think his leg got damaged and fixed 3 times in 10 episodes.
Yeah. At least.
It's always the right one too. They never showed the left one love. They favored the right.
Right?
I need help. What was with Maul? He pushed Darky into Vader, but just one time he thought, "Oh, he won't make it. I don't have time to do more pushes."
Yeah. The push it felt a little limp.
Maybe because he had respect for the Jedi Master, like maybe what Dash was saying. Maybe he's just like, if you survive, you're worthy. But the part of me that looks at that was just like, nah, your apprentice is mine. Die well, Jedi, sort of thing.
Boop.
Yeah. This one's for you, Dash.
I think the reason Maul pushed Darky was because Maul knew this fight was doomed. And he thought if Darky died to Vader, this would be enough to push Devon over the edge to join Maul. Absolutely. And it was off screen so that she didn't see him do the push. She just got the rage fallout, which I think is very clever of Maul.
Love the show. Love the finale. Just thought being in the sunlight with the mysterious made it a bit goofy.
Yeah, I can see that. It was weird that it went from misty and dark to they fought on the bridge in the light a lot more. Especially the one thing I really liked about the tone and theming was the fact that, hello, Kitty, over time, as in, every opening shot was Janix getting darker and darker and darker, like the Imperial suddenly, you know what I mean? Like it went from 5 p.m. to probably 3 a.m. in the morning. And so I did think that it would have been scarier at night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the only little push didn't really do anything. The Maul didn't push again. He just left. It was weird. Yeah, because he locked eyes with Darky, and Darky was like, "You prick," and he was just like, "I am."
Oh, I love this one.
Mhm.
Not disappointed. And not an ATSD. I got corrected. See, the clone armor, the vehicles, you'll always beat me in that department. I see that. And did I tell you I even Googled? I was like, that's not an AT-AT. That's the Camel Walker.
Do you think in season 2, Vader is going to report back to Palpatine? We're going to see that conversation.
Yeah.
That'd be wild.
Maybe Palpatine will be like, you have disappointed me, Vader. I'm going to send someone more competent. And then Grand Inquisitor's going to get his shot, and then Vader's going to get that horrible jealousy of I'm the dog. And the Grand Inquisitor, can you do his voice? It's so funny.
Or maybe Palpatine's going to fuck with him.
That's what I'm saying. He's messing with him.
No, but in my head, I'm just like, the way he would mess with him is like, perhaps I shouldn't have discarded Maul. Maybe he is a more worthy apprentice than you are.
Do the Grand Inquisitor voice from the show.
The Jedi code is like an itch.
Keep going.
What's another voice line he has? Oh, that's right. When he says to Reva after she gets stabbed for the 10th time, he's like, I will leave you in the gutter where you belong, like filth. Like, he's just so weird with his voice.
And Jason Isaac's voice, literally, I remember the first time I heard him, the Rebels, they did the showcase in 2014, September, October, and they put out little snippets, the sizzles for each character. I was like, oh, Ezra Kanan, whatever. And then the Grand Inquisitor was like Jason Isaac's voice. He went, yeah, 2 lines. He went, your devotion to your master is admirable, but it will not save you. Nothing can. And I was like, oh, Jason Isaacs is a great voice. And then that stupid voice live action, his head looked like mine, but like testicle. I was like, why? How is he? How?
Third sister. So hang on a second. So we'll get to that comment, but basically it's all the way down. It says, maybe Palp isn't aware. That'd be very un-Palpatine of him not to be aware of what's going on in the galaxy. By the way, that one scene of Vader in the fog from episode 9 seems to be a callback to the covert art of splinters in the mind's eye. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Nobody was, brother and sister were nearly sleeping together for warmth. Splinter in the Mind's Eye is that novel, I believe, between A New Hope and Empire that was like first of the EU or one of, and it had a Misty Vader and Luke and Leia in weird outfits. Like, oh shit, it's Vader. Yeah, so that's actually a cool callback. I love it. Go Carlos Medina. What a cool name. CI Optimus Prime says, hey Dash, I love this new live show you two are doing. You guys should keep going. Thank you, sir. I've seen you around. I appreciate you. Also, is there going to be a rule of 3 this week? I know that Badger's asked, and I haven't seen Theory's schedule. I don't know. I literally am waiting like you guys. I don't know. Theory has been busy back to back with shows and stuff that like he's Lord. He used to send me like Instagram stories, would send him back and forth daily. Now he doesn't even he's not even on Insta. He's locked in. So as soon as I know, I'll post on Twitter and the channel and say it's on just for you guys to make sure. It's an ATAC.
You're getting cooked.
Chicken Walker. Yeah, no, same dude. I like that. Hit me to a core because I won't remember.
Maul didn't care much about everyone dying except Spybot. He got really upset, didn't he? Do you think it's because it's part droid? He was just like,
my people. Well, I mean, what droid appendages does he have, and how close is he to Spybot?
You reckon he's
Do you happen to be a pleasure model?
Can we talk about where Maul stabbed Vader with the lightsaber, but Vader stops it with the Force, and Vader tries the same towards Maul, but stops it with the Force, and then Vader choke throws him? Yeah, that was funny.
Great moments. It's funny. The only people I really see doing that is a guy called, is it Mike Skywalker? And he does a lot of stuff with Theory, sabers and dueling, and he's got his own movies out. And he did that move twice with this duel against 2 guys. You know, he's cosplaying as Luke, and he's a really good fighter, and the choreography is great. So look him up. And he did that move, and I went, oh, that's really interesting. And so to see them do it twice, I've gone, shit. That's the first time I've seen them do that, but they didn't overdo it. If they do it 3 times, I'll start to get annoyed. Like, stop doing the hand thing, you know? They sparingly did great things. They changed out the sabers, you know, whether it was more using Jarkai with dual sabers or you know, single sabers, or Devon doing the same, all the different styles, everything was very compelling. They used the surroundings, the terrain to their advantage, the high ground. I really, really enjoyed the differences, and whoever's doing the choreography is Nick Gallard level. Well, yeah, for animation, for sure.
I think he would have mourned his lieutenant, but you know Vader.
Yeah, it wasn't like, Rook, Bodhi, Rook, local boy, huh?
I think in Vader's eyes, anyone that fails him is just a worthless piece of poop. Which is fair.
How bad is that, though? What if the mum is deadbeat mum status and she's like, talks like the Grand Inquisitor, you are a bad son, and then it's like sends him off to Empire camp for brainwashing, you know? What if Riley becomes an Imperial?
Yeah, I
And
don't
shock
understand why
war.
she's like, go take him to his mother. I'm like, his mum's an imp, bro. Like, nah.
Dirty. But then what if she breaks free of the Imperials because of Lawson's sacrifice? And that's the one thing. Then suddenly they're bonding when they weren't. Because generally speaking, mothers, you don't see abandon their children versus dads. You know, it's just not in the motherly, maternal way we're programmed. What made her join the Empire? How much of a sycophant is she? It's very interesting.
They'll have a rematch in season 2 and Maul will do some damage to Vader. I hope not.
Maul said in Rebels, didn't he? Like, we can't tank Vader. I can't take him alone.
I cannot
I think
take
that's
the
enough to
Vader alone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was enough for him to learn. I think Grand Inquisitor will take Vader's place, and Palpatine will punish Vader and go bad dogging.
But won't the Grand Inquisitor be dead by then? He falls to Kanan.
Season 2, no, because remember, Maul has the
we don't know
Grand
the jump,
Inquisitor's
though.
lightsaber
He
in Rebels,
is it,
so he
is
has
it
to
his?
face him. Yeah, 100%. I'm not. I've made a video on it. There is no world in which I don't think all those Inquisitors have different style sabers, and Maul's cobbled together many, and it says on Wikipedia as much. It's cobbled, but you can tell there's no other Inquisitor that exists that has the Grand Inquisitor design. Maul has either taken it from him, he's lost it to Maul, it's broken, but Maul has pieces of the Grand Inquisitor's saber. So there must have been an early confrontation. Yeah, he loses saber. Maul cobbles it. That's Maul's last saber, technically.
Looking forward to season 2. Oh, we got that. Hey.
Sorry. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, true. See, like for season 2, I think there has to be an appropriate time jump now. Like they probably won't show, because I don't know how many seasons it's going to run for. If they're going to only do 2, I'm going to assume that they're going to show more already established as an underworld boss, because I don't necessarily think him being an underworld boss is necessarily the main story narrative. It's definitely got to be with this new with Darren.
Right.
Derek?
So we're not going to see all of the nitty gritty, because we've seen it before. Him climbing the crime syndicate ladder. That's boring compared to him making her get the tattoos of Darth Talon. Do you reckon the surviving twin Zabrak? No, he acid pulled. Shit.
Yeah, he got disintegrated.
Damn, that was gnarly too.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, who's going to tattoo her? Who's going to hold her down? That would suck.
Agreed, Daniel. Agreed.
Yeah, great choice. Diluting Vader is by having him beaten, by having him talk too much, by having him look weak. Vader to the wider galaxy is a menace and a threat beyond anything there is. And to Palpatine, he is a bitch in which he will dismantle in front of others, especially Inquisitors.
Yeah. Although it does highlight something here too, that Vader was there, which goes to show Maul's importance. Because remember, Marok said, is like, the Palpatine wants you dead. And it's just like, he will send his biggest asset to kill him.
Mm.
Maul versus Ahsoka was entirely different type of fight. He was not trying to kill her. He needed her to survive so she could be his apprentice. I mean, there are hallmarks of that, because if we remember when he said that to his own brother Savage, when Savage ignited his saber behind him, he goes, "A lesson then." Like maybe he wasn't. Yeah, maybe he wasn't trying to murk her.
He's
Not
trying to
sure.
apprentice everybody. That was sad that he did that to his own brother.
He was, but back then he was a Sith. He openly said it. He goes, "We are Sith."
Yeah, I know, but it's still whack to be like, brother, you know, and because Savage still was like, I just did it for you. And Maul's like, fuck, man.
Yeah, true.
He wasn't in
I
a
don't,
good
I,
headspace.
I don't think Sith are in a good mental headspace, dude. Like
Ever.
on the level.
This is what the
they
whole
are.
show's about. Trauma. We've already
Well,
gone through that.
pretty disappointing, especially if you're someone who does sword fighting IRL. You can definitely tell there's a lot of inconsistency regardless of the storytelling. I'm not sure what that comment was relating to.
Power scaling. Maul not
Ah,
ganking Inquisitors out the gate because he's so vicious. And the Inquisitors' power levels differentiating between the show Ahsoka. But Ahsoka, I think because they didn't use enough of a double for Rosario Dawson, which they needed to at all sword fighting times, she just didn't have the skill to do the dual. I'm not saying she's lesser. I can't imagine how difficult that would be. But even Hayden Christensen, you see famously, they're like, slow down, dude. When he was like, she's like, oh, like it just wasn't working.
Yeah, I mean, to be Ahsoka, to match that athleticism from the Clone Wars would be so difficult.
And
So
Xian reverse grip, that shit doesn't work normally. Like, I wouldn't want to fight anybody with a sword in reverse grip. That's so difficult. That's like a ninja slash move. You know, that's not normal sword fighting. It's so hard to pull off.
Do you want to read one, Dash?
Sure. Yeah, the loss of his family dying by his tormentor's hand would mess you up. Agreed. I think we've like gone through some of this before. I just don't want to double step.
During this whole
Yeah,
show,
that's true.
Maul was using the Inquisitors to try and show Devon the Jedi way wasn't working anymore. Yeah, he was peacocking. Yeah.
He was peacocking, all right. Red saber. I love when she took his saber in the end, finally learning the lesson. They set that up so well. It's poetry. It rhymes. When she was looking at it like, this is mine now. And he's like, I also love his pathetic little old man grunt when he went on the wall. Because he just got, Vader was stitching him up so hard with the burns and shit. And it was like, I love that. Because if that was me, I would let out the most awkward squawk, like grunting, and you know, as you go down, it's just burnt. Even a Sith master, like just a badass, like Maul was like, fuck, dude. As he went, it was Vader.
Yeah, it was actually I actually liked how he sat down next to her. It was just like, it wasn't like you said, more like you are my bitch, Savage. It was more just like, now we are equal together. I was kind of like,
Yeah, he's learned that lesson. Also, when he went to gear up to fight, sometimes like he would pose himself with them or ahead or whatever, but you could tell it was like, we're together. Like, it's like I said, the honor system of the Jedi, as much as he hated them, he respects, he goes, at least they're someone we know, someone said that. And so there's a familiarity. There was even a moment where I think it wasn't Spybot, it was Vario was talking smack, and all three, him and Darky and Lawson, looked at Vario like, really? But they gave him, it was like a moment of, they were just allies for a moment. There was no separation. And I was like, it worked. Because Maul, to me, a disservice to his character is making him relatable and wanky and, the Jedi aren't so bad. I didn't do that.
They could do both. She can be.
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I think that one we answered.
She either dies, gets her own show, early Empire, gets a show post Empire, or as Dash shows up way in the future. I don't see any more options. See, I think my opinion on it is that she's going to be used as a tool to keep personifying his failure. I think she's going to meet a really horrible end, and he's going to try and do it with Ezra, because right now this guy just likes recruiting fucking Padawans like Pokemon. Like he went straight to her. He tried to do Ahsoka, her. Then he's like Ezra, and then he's just like, oh fuck, this one has nothing to do with me. And he tried to kill Kanan like how many times? A few times.
Eating insects on Malachor. Call me old master. It's like, yeah, old disaster, more like it. Piece of shit. Yeah, I like the idea that Talon, if Talon moves away, because either she dies, which your way, or she moves away from the timeline, because again, like you said, we know how the story ends, and she doesn't have a meaningful impact on the Empire. There's only so many ways that you can show a noble sacrifice of the rebels, and oh, they did help, but really, that's not as fun because we know how Vader and Palpatine's story ends, and the Skywalker saga really takes over. It's kind of the ceiling. It's really hard to take a little piece of that meaning and be like, yeah, but you know, Talon Devon did this, and it's like Skywalker. You know, so get her out of that. She either dies and it's Maul's lesson, it's all contained between her and Maul and their hate and not learning, and that's the lesson, or she moves outside of that, and then Filoni gets his new toy to play outside of that, and you know, moves outside of the Empire storyline, which I don't know, he does not like doing that.
Will she show up in Ahsoka? Dun dun dun.
Ashoka is a slow Twi'lek live action. It's like, give me a minute. I'll keep fighting when I'm ready.
Well, Ahsoka would be older than her, wouldn't she? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Big time. At least 5-10 years. Yeah.
Later, Devon will find a baby darkie returning the light and leave Maul to help the path. I'm very confused, Britannia, of that sentence.
Why? What doesn't make sense about a baby darkie returning the light and leave Maul to help the path?
Where are we going to get a baby darkie?
You've got some great points. We've loved them thus far, but a baby darkie like Grogu, are we just franchising now with cute green creatures? We've missed the boat. Note that Devon was holding her own very well against the crow, but the moment she gives into anger, as Maul suggested, she lost her focus. That's a great point, dude. I love that the lessons were live action, like in the moment lessons too. I did like her voice actor when she got mad at the end. She really sold that. I thought, oh, this lady can play rage, real rage, boiling. I like, and we need that.
Maul, very acrobatic, so it's a major nerf not to have mobility. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Julio with his little Ray Park kicks and stuff.
Well, these two episodes with Vader scenes in the fog seem to be a shout out to the. Oh, we've seen that one. Yep.
The TK's troopers. Oh, I get that. Look at this. TK troopers. Yeah, the TK troopers. This is what you asked this. This seems to take place. Oh, that clears things up. Sorry, I'm being cheeky. I'm like, fuck. The timeline, I'm like, zzz. I need to look at the literal physical timelines that they have.
This is set after Bad Batch. No, I think it's set during.
Do you copy?
Ah, yeah. TK421. Why your post? Yeah.
Somebody got the Stormtrooper chatter, which is throughout Jedi Outcast, and put it over the Stormtroopers in Kenobi when they were sitting in the back of that bus for that stupid ride where Obi-Wan's with Leia, you know, when they're traveling. And I was like, man, I'm such a nerd. I think that this is outcut. Like they sound like outcut. It was. They just literally took the voice files and did the whole conversations. I love Stormtrooper chatter so much. All right, he's ignoring me. I'll keep going. Every trooper gets a TK number, but TK troopers were the core before they split them into different groups. That's actually badass. I don't know anything about TK troopers, and I'm ashamed at this because I do like the different splinters where, like, say, dark troopers, etc., where things happened that were core pillars of like differentiating moments. At least they had Maul drinking tea in canon. Too bad we didn't get her him to say it's brisk, baby. Yeah. It's brisk, baby. You know, Sam Wentworth said he got paid more for those brisk iced tea commercials than like playing Maul in the Clone Wars. And that's
I
how they
haven't
make their
seen
money.
them. I haven't seen them.
Oh, it's like a bobblehead Maul cartoon where, you know, American stuff that we don't have. I never even heard of brisk iced tea till I saw the commercials. Like Americans have 400 different drinks compared to us.
Maul's face at hearing that makes it seem like he's being called Shadow Lord. You mean like his reaction to when Darky called him Shadow Lord?
Yeah, he's saying he liked the
Yeah.
reaction.
Oh yeah.
Kanan was an alcoholic. Well, that's
He was.
you know, it's a put down. That it's very Kanan just seems so much like someone went, hey, Sam went, I you know, like Filoni went, I like Kyle Katarn, and Sam went, Force Unleashed, I love Ram Koda, and they just overlaid the characters. I love General Ram Koda. I've been watching Force Unleashed cutscenes lately. That dude is so underrated as a cool villain. Not villain, hero, anti-hero. I don't know. That his backstory, I forgot about the comics.
Before meeting Hera, who made him want to be a better person. Yes, yeah. It seems like, because I think even in Rebels, wasn't getting Ezra as a Padawan more her idea? Because wasn't he having sort of force visions about this kid on Lothal? That's where they went to investigate it. And it was more Hera that pushed him to pick him up as a Padawan because he was so broken. Like he didn't want to like really, yeah.
How hilarious was Lothal when you think about the geography? It's like field, city, and then one tower, which a kid has somehow claimed and allowed to live on. You know, remember Ezra lived in that tower looking out over the city? Like, it just seemed like they were like, this is our budget. The city's like 6 square blocks and everything's going to happen in the city. The rest is grass plains and then one kid's tower. So funny.
I actually liked the architecture only because I think Aladdin was the big inspiration for Lothal and Ezra.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
I remember that from when it was first done, but like even seeing live action Ezra, like everything's come back to me. That is so Aladdin.
Yeah. That's what I used to call him, like Lothrat, like street rat, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, did he try and steal the fruit in the guard captain? I guess Callus, maybe. Yeah, yeah. Wow, I'm amazed they didn't have a genie. A character like Genie. Instead, we got Gareth.
Well, they did. They did the Bendu. The
that
weird
was Doctor
moose.
Who's voice actor.
I actually loved his voice. That was so good.
He's so those dudes. Whenever they shell out for like dudes who've been in the industry 60 years and they're like over the hill to Hollywood, but they're so good at what they do, and they pay them $200 at a sandwich, and then the old guy comes in like, oh, no one's going to remember me, and they knock it out of the park. I think that's why video games were great in the 90s, because they got all the washed up actors who are phenomenal on-screen actors, and the voice work they do, like Sarah Kesselman as Kreia, or David Warner played John Irenicus in Baldur's Gate, or you know what I mean? Like Frank Gorshin, who was the Riddler in the 60s Batman show, he played Marius in Diablo 2, and their voice, their acting skill is so off the charts. That was like the guy, whoever his name was, Tom something, who was Doctor who voiced the Bendu. Ooh, the Bendu. And I was like, oh, this guy's voice, he's so skilled.
It was funny. We first looked at the Bendu. It was like the Star Wars version of a fucking platypus. You're like, what the hell are you?
Wasn't that? It's not Killix. What were those stupid spider things? They're not Killix. They're the other thing, because Killix are ant. Those things from Ralph McQuarrie art that like he was like, don't freak out, they're about to crawl inside you, and I was like, oh, because I like spiders. I was like, no. Tell me that wasn't freaky. You were just like, no, he's blind, and you're making him interact with spiders.
In a previous fight with Marok and the other brother, I know his right hip gets hit. So Vader hits him in the exact same place he was previously hit. Does he? I thought Vader hits him
same place.
Higher.
Yeah, but basically, like they really were hot for the kneecaps and the hips. The old man.
His right leg too. Maul craves companionship but can't shake off the Sith indoctrination. He can't.
Agreed.
He can't. Yeah.
He craves connection. He just can't get it because the Sith
That repeated failure.
indoctrination is antithetical. What did you say?
Hmm?
What did you say?
When?
Did you say repeated failure?
Yeah, Maul's. It's a
Oh,
telltale
thank
for his
God.
repeat failure.
I
Yeah.
thought you said repeated failure. I thought I said pedophilia. And I was like, repeated failure, pedophilia. I'm like, God damn it. Maul has nothing but being raised by, yeah, he hasn't learned lessons, and that's hard because the dark side obviously is so quick and easy. You never learn the lesson, and that's the lesson of the dark side that he can't see because you can't read the label of the jar that you're in. And so he's stuck inside going, oh, if I just do this, but it's like, no, idiot, let go of the dark. Compassionate Maul, here, darling, there, it will be okay now. Yeah.
Basically. You like the feel of that saber, Devin?
Jesus Christ.
Honest, I wanted them to get into a tickle fight and go hysterically.
Who's he talking about?
I have fucking no idea.
We should read this one and come through because this, without context, I'm like, please no. You're gonna get we're gonna get a community strike.
Having no lines is likely meant to avoid all James Earl Jones voice.
They love
AI
voice.
AI.
They love it. They're like, Fortnite, you want Vader? Guess who's going to say the N-word? James Earl Jones. And you're like, oh, man. Do they not give it away? Like, they made so many mistakes letting people run wild. No words. I mean, I'm back in form. Didn't you hear the clips that they were making Vader say in Fortnite, and it was getting the ban? They were like having to remove it. It was just wild.
No, I didn't see that.
Like everything, like, you know, anti-Semitic, whatever. They were just going straight into bannable. It was almost like they may as well have just gone to 4chan and gone, "Hey, do you guys want to like abuse something?" And they went, in Fortnite style. Like, it was wild what they came up with straight away.
It's wild.
Well, that's what you get when you give people license to do shit with James Earl Jones' voice.
I believe James signed over his rights for his voice. Yeah, he recorded shitloads of voice lines before he passed. Like, heaps and heaps and heaps, heaps.
I mean, at least these kids get some money, hopefully, from the estate. Like, at least I like that, you know, Vader's voice is one that can be modulated, but I can tell people act like you can't tell, but it's like bouncier and it loses timbre and it loses menace a lot. So, but that's just the way of AI.
I work in film. It's absolutely disgusting how much AI bullshit I see on the average day. Well, it's actually true. Who was I saw a TikTok post today from one of the actresses in Ant-Man and the Wasp, the lady, I think Angeline, her name is. I can't remember. And she was one of the actresses in the Ant-Man movies, and she actually spoke out about Disney's recent layoffs. So I think it was over like 230 employees, and basically she was saying that those people that they laid off were the first people that worked on the Marvel films, like the ones that actually brought the visuals to life. And she basically said that she thinks it's disgusting to see, like, now that they're replacing them with machines to basically leverage the work that they did and to keep moving forward. So, like, she's been a massive recent layoff at Disney, and she really spoke out against it, which I think is good to see an actress having the cojones to come out and be like, this is dead wrong. Yeah.
I got two minds, dude.
Okay.
I think that corporations are not your friend. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but for moral issues, I don't trust any government or corporation body. They just have self-interest, and they will wear the mask. They'll hire people that went to college and have all these social issues and pretty words and this and that and equality and whatever. But at the end of the day, if a buck's to be made, the shareholder, the almighty dollar, is all they give a shit about. Because the irony is that they shut the Sora AI arm down, and people are like, yes, Disney, go. And I'm like, you know that they're going to leverage AI how they want. And I'm friends with, I would say, or at least acquaintances. I DM with Skywalker Stories and Star Wars Untold, both the AI number 1 and 2 guys in the space. And they've taught me a lot about AI. And if I had the money, if you gave me $10 million tomorrow, I would go and make Red Harvest with legit artists. I would go and make it.
Mhm.
I wouldn't go to AI. And they say it. They're like, we know AI is arse. We know it doesn't look great, but Disney refuses to tell the stories that we want to see. So we have the tools. And that's the point people miss is they go, oh, AI is screwed and AI is bad. It's like Disney and the corporations were refusing to give us what we want. So we've got the tools to finally do it ourselves, even if it looks like us. Look at the numbers on YouTube. And so I think that element is fine. But I think that Disney then having the gall to be hypocrites and then turn around and be like, we're on the advocates of the artists. And then, you find out that they're firing people left, right, and center to save a buck. It's just, it doesn't surprise me. I just don't trust corporations, and I'll never get in, some premiere or shit or ever again. And I know I've been blacklisted by Disney for speaking my mind, but they have no morals. If they didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all when it comes to that stuff. I think, when Walt Disney was around, or like the 80s and 90s, the golden era, when the artistry mattered, you watch behind the scenes of like Lion King or Beauty and the Beast and they cared about it. Absolutely. Now I just see it as a mega corporation. Like it just is soulless. And there are people who care. I've hung out with animators, literally the guys that made Star Wars Detours. And I watched some episodes of the unreleased Detours. I think it's been released now, but I watched it at their house, and they're good people and they care and they're trying to make active, positive change. But when the higher you go, the more the money talks. And you even saw, what's his name? Who's the guy that took over Disney and screwed Bob Iger?
Bob Chapek.
Bob Iger was the first guy.
Bob Chapek.
Why do you call him Chapek instead of Iger? Is that a slur?
No, there was one after Iger. It was Chapek.
Yeah, well, the first guy, Bob Iger, when he wrote his novel, and he was like, yeah, I juiced up. I literally used psychological manipulation on Lucas to make him think that Disney was, Star Wars got into good hands, and then I shafted him because I just wanted to do what I wanted. And I was just like, these people fatigue me so much. I don't know.
Did he actually say it like that? Like he literally,
as far as I can tell,
that's disgusting.
The use of, well, he G'd him up. He made him trust him, which is what their MO. It's like, I've seen it time and again in the gaming industry. I'm not going to go through lists, but I just think they're all gross and they all think the same way, and they're all in the same country club, and they're all got business majors. And this is the new world we live in, where the shareholder is the be all and end all. And I don't know. I'm fatigued with that.
Yeah.
I've gone too far.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, Devin, we need a button the audience can push, whereas if we monologue too much about an issue that's outside the scope, they reel us back in? Well, you know what? I'll get a members thing or something so that they can just spam and emote, and then it's like a stop. Do you guys think Devin is going to be an actual Sith or maybe some kind of dark gray Jedi? Well, Maul isn't a Sith. Should be trained as a Sith loosely, but it's like saying
trained in the dark arts.
In the dark arts, but it's like being a Catholic versus a Jehovah's Witness or whatever. You know what I mean? They technically.
Well, what is Balin's skull then? Because he's not a Sith or
gray. Or dark Jedi. He's a dark Jedi. But I just go gray or dark when they're outside of the bounds of the Sith. I love that they used to call them dark Jedi, even though they have absolutely fucking nothing to do with Jedi half the time. Like a dude that learned the Force, like Desan from Jedi Outcast, before Luke found him, and he was using the Force to get his way, and he's really strong, and his people, the T-Rex guy to Outcast, they would have classified him as a dark Jedi before the moment he stepped into the Jedi Academy, because he's a dark Force wielder. So I like that. That's just me.
It's funny though when you look at the Bendu, and he was for me the personification of the one in the middle. The Bendu, like the gray, even his eyes were gray. Remember when, for example, Kanan was trying to get him to fight, and he goes, "I care not about your pathetic wars. I don't get involved." Because Balin had more of a purpose. He wanted to destroy to recreate. That for me was almost him going to the architect of the Matrix, tear it down and start again. You know what I mean? I was like, where are you going with this? You need to destroy to create. So he wasn't looking to gain power. He was looking to fuck everything up.
He could though. He could be tearing it down to rebuild it in his image. I never trust a dark side user when they're like, you know, they have these espouse these grounded ideals that they're alluring, where you go, oh yeah, it does need to be torn down. It's all messed up. But if you go to Mortis and he tries to become the father and then he dictates how things go and corrupts it, that's what I'm saying. Like I always am hesitant that he doesn't have some altruistic notion. They usually are self-serving, and then it corrupts them. The power, absolute power, corrupts absolutely, and the closer they get to it, the more corrupt they get. That's just me. That's the old takeaway.
I'm totally fine to having different viewpoints on what they want out of Star Wars at this point. I know what I would like to see versus what others want. It could very well be completely different. Yeah, 100%.
Agreed. No, Darian, I hope you're asleep because bad things are going to happen now.
I liked it as well. I thought he made me cackle. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I know you hate it, but when, for example, like Devin touched me, he's like, "No, touch you!" Like, I let out a little. I was just like, I know.
I can hear the theme song for our show. Grifter and the shill, Grifter and the shill. One does something, the other wants to kill. I don't know. Just
if you voice record that, we definitely have to have that as an intro.
Oh, I'm gonna have another word. Then anyway, they keep on relying on the same shit, but at least they don't stab people and let them get away with it. Nice point. That was like not. Or Scarlet with the 6 out of 10. Did you say what? Why? Oh, here we go. Look, I liked it. I have showed Clone Wars to countless people. The looks are cool, but they're really struggling with getting away from Vader. I wish we didn't rely on Vader so much. It's becoming a crutch. It's just Vader, or Luke instead. Make a show that can stand without cameos. It's true.
It is, but it's not a cameo. Like, I think, for example, storytelling is contextual. This is contextual of the times. So, like, for example, that's why I think they didn't, like, even though Vader was a cameo in Rebels, they selectively said we can't have him there come back all the time, because then obviously you're going to happen the same mistake. I repeat the same mistake what they had with the Clone Wars with Dooku, where he keeps having fights and they keep getting like evading each other. It makes Dooku less threatening as a character, and they couldn't afford to do that to Vader. But contextually in the storyline, he is the head of the Inquisitors. They are hunting. Maul is very important. It makes sense that Vader is there.
But they are sick of the Empire timeline, and even Acolyte. Disney's known for this Acolyte, you know, where Leslie Headland famously said, "Screw George's Star Wars," and then they still put in the Ki-Adi-Mundi out of timeline. They still put in their Yoda reference, even though she cast her wife instead of Yoda. That was meant to be Yoda's character from memory. Like, they still begrudgingly throw a legacy character in if they want the views, or Plagueis at the end. You know what I mean? So I get that, where it's like, all right, if you want to do shit your way, do it, but don't you dare rely on or taint the characters and make them act how you want them to act with your show, which you go on and about how different it is. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with that, but contextual, like Sweep said, it works for this, but we do know this end of Vader's story and Maul's, and so it's amazing. It's harder, and the Inquisitors, it's harder to make the suspense of disbelief or like care about the stakes or get tension, but they've done it well. There's a lot of tension.
I keep forgetting you're a couple of years behind me, Dash. At least you're a fellow 80s child.
You know what's weird about my camera? All cameras, they seem to tune my skin up to make it look like flawless. Like the settings, my phone.
Just own it. Just own it.
No, I don't like that my phone, like the number one setting, like it must be an AI screen. It'd be so funny if like you show my face and it was just like wrinkle, you know, like whatever. Like you know, you see those people that have like neck wrinkles and then they like move too fast and then their face shows. But I've got like more freckles and I don't see. Oh, there's one. If I can move I don't like that. Like, see how I've got more freckles? Anyway, I don't like that about everything's so youth obsessed. Yes, I'm 40. Yes, it's a weird thing because I still feel 25, except my right knee hurts at the moment.
I know a few older fans that have said they wouldn't watch until Vader was in it. That's silly.
Oh, I like this one. Just from the first 2 words I saw, I was like,
people cream their pants when they see Vader. It really hurts. Star Wars can be so much more than just Vader and Inquisitors. Explore the old Republic / Force. It's a billion post Return of the. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's pre-Empire. So I think, like, they're going to be very, very hesitant from telling new stories for a while. They want to tell a storyline that will be compelling for fans at this point in time. I understand that there may be some of that fatigue, but remember when they did the Acolyte and we all laughed at them? They want fans back for a little bit. And I think exploring a period of time that hasn't been shown on screen, which is pre-Empire, like you did it with the Bad Batch, now we're sort of leading up to it. They can't go on from there because obviously then they have Rebels and stuff like that. So if they're going to just take their time to fill in gaps, great. If the content is great, that's a good thing, because obviously it's more content for us that we can talk about. But I think if they go off and do something new, they need to dot their I's and crosses their T's properly, because, like, they might draw us back now for more, but as soon as they do something new, there's a lot of people waiting there, like, going, you better not fuck this up. So, like, there's a lot of pressure on them at the moment, and they need to get, I think, spirits back in tune a little bit before they go off and do something completely new. If I were working at Disney, that's how I'd approach it. I'd be like, we need to make sure we actually stick everything we do.
And on that note, I think that unfortunately, I've got to cap it now, but we've covered a lot of ground in terms of what we want to see. I like that we have opposing viewpoints, and you guys sharing yours. We're really trying to foster community chatting. So I think next show, because we're going to keep doing this weekly, we will try and incorporate, because I was trying to do a breakdown of the episode, then we talk, but that doesn't work as well, and the episodes have stopped for now. So we'll incorporate chat a lot more in live reactions, and then we'll give you emotes to stop us from absolutely going off the rails.
Can you make custom emotes on your YouTube? Like, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
There's a big stop.
It's just
with a droid, because you hate droids. There's
I hate droids.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Unless it's HK-47.
Who's your most hated droid? Who do you hate the most?
What's the one that was singing in space in Rebels? The Imperial one. No.
Really?
No, I like Steven Stanton. I'm sorry, Steven. Can I say maybe Gascon being like the guy that was taking the droids in Clone Wars? No, I don't hate droids. I like the comedic value. Tonally, I don't need every droid to be slapstick comedy, every single one. And I think it pulls me out of like really dark moments. And that's the annoyance that I have. The one note Spybot. He's named Spybot, and he goes, I'm a Spybot. I'm evil. Me, I get you. And I'm like, oh, it just seems too lowbrow.
Do you know which droid I hated the most?
Who?
The one that Lando, where he used to fuck his toaster. What was her name? Fucking L3.
Oh, that was horrendous.
The one that yelled,
not even real. I love Lando's my favorite OT character in terms of moral like decency, which is funny. I always like praised Lando. I was like, Luke ran to save his friends at the cost of everything else. He didn't care. Whereas Lando followed the Jedi tenets of he was willing to sacrifice his friends to save an entire city. He knew, shit, I can't, kill 5, save 100,000. Lando was a real one for that. And I always respected him because that's the hardest decision. And to see him bang a droid.
Yeah, but now
what do we have here?
Yeah, hello, what have we here? Like, nice.
Maybe I'll have sex with you, Han.
You just see him smacking the Falcon from a weird angle. Like, that's
maybe I'm having sex with my hand right now. You can't see under the table. I was like, oh.
Actually was a funny. Do you know what was a really awkward moment? I remember in the cinema in The Rise of Skywalker, I actually just went, what the fuck? When that random chick that Finn was with, and like they're celebrating on that planet, and she just goes up and sits next to Lando, and she's just like, I just want to figure out who I am. And he's just like, maybe we can find out together. And it just cuts. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, is that her dad, bro? Like,
this is really funny. I don't want to get into culture war, but this is like comedy. This is for real comedy. It's when Billy D. Williams, do you remember when he got in hot water around all that stuff?
Not particularly, no.
So, and again, this isn't a part of the culture war. I'm going to preface this. I really mean this. But Billy D. Williams did an interview at the height of the culture war stuff, and he started referring to himself with female pronouns, like switching. And people were like, do you identify as trans? And Billy D, bless his soul, was like, I don't know anything about any of that. I sometimes like to just refer to myself as like he or she. Like he didn't even know about any of it. He was just like, I like to just call myself she, like she's a good one. I was like, what the fuck?
But is he like to that point where he's like getting a bit senile and he's just like, ugh.
I don't know. I love Billy D. I love Lando. So I'm like I love Billy D. So I just like, that's awesome. That's so dumb though. Like I'm like, yeah, you know,
It's
Dash,
good.
she's a
It's
good
real.
gal. And you're like, what do you? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just do it sometimes.
But can you imagine just an old Billy D scrolling on Twitter? Like, hello. Like, nah. it's not
Hello
gonna
there.
work.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, we've hit the high point. Thank you guys so much for joining. Genuinely, everything is community based from now on. I've kind of thrown the dagger in the sand. I've talked to Sweepy about it, that we want to be more community focused because there's not a lot of spaces that people can explore Star Wars together. I was going to say space. Well, you just have fun, community. I think it's lost. I think that people are so divided that everybody's
100%.
and it's not that old school energy of let's talk about what we love, what we hate together, and just like each other, like be bros. So Star Bros Unite. Thank you again. We'll see you next week. And we really enjoy chatting. Make sure to check out the Discord, which is linked hopefully in the description or on the channel, and Twitter to keep the conversation going, as well as SWP1 on Twitch, as Sweep is streaming again with Battlefront 2. I'll be playing with him, no doubt. And we'll be doing a bunch of fun stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It's been a lot of fun. It'll be actually good to see, like, you know, what talking points we're going to have going forward, because after the show's done, you know, like Dash said, to actually bring discussions, like spam his Discord, see what like we'd like to talk about, what news is there. And I think we can actually just bring that space together, actually just, like you said, bring the community into it. We would love to talk to you guys.
Well, because if you love Star Wars, we're going to talk to you about it. It's as simple as that. All right. Have a great evening.
See you guys. Okay. I'm live. I'm by myself. Are we still live?